3. Hey, everybody! Nick is completely cut out. Here we go. It is a bit of a crunch in here. We can all scoot and there we go. Welcome to Just Another Nerdy Podcast. I'm Jay.
Nick.
Tiana.
All right, we're actually doing. I didn't even realize it, but I made the connection afterwards. This is, I guess, I'm just gonna call these my birthday streams this week.
Oh, is your birthday this week?
My birthday's on Saturday, so we will not be streaming on Saturday. Thank you. I will be 30, so that means I'll be sleeping from now on. I don't know. People say, oh, once you hit 30, you feel it, and I'm like, I feel it already.
Right.
We went on a trip to Hawaii when I was 26. Actually, I was working at Gamers at that point. Everyone's like, jet lag's gonna kill you. I got up and I'm like, I feel great, and I just went right back to work, no problems. And I'm like, yeah, everyone's talking crap. And then when I was 28, we came back. I thought I was gonna die. Like, I was like, jet lag's the worst.
I have friends at cons who we work the whole day. We do like our 10, 12, 14-hour days, and then they're like, oh, we're also gonna go out drinking and have a good time. We're going to go to this party, and I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, how do you move? Oh. How do you move right now? All right, guys, just so you know, you can check us out on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Castbox, if that's your speed. We're on Castbox as well, amongst other platforms. Castbox is actually, I gotta give a huge thanks to Castbox because they host all of our audio for free.
Oh, wow.
Because everything else is like, if it's for free, it's extremely limited. Like, one was like you could do 3 hours a month. It was like we'd easily do an hour and a half to 2 hours a week. So yeah, I was like, no. And then Castbox, someone I used to do a podcast with earlier, he was like, yeah, we should check out Castbox. And I looked at him like, it's free. Like, this is what I've been looking for.
I will jump on that. Thank you.
The only downside is like they have zero like analytics, no tagging, so you really can't because search engine optimization, you want to be able to tag and stuff.
Right.
So it's a problem. Like it is an issue. So yeah, you can check us out there if you want to. You can download us. I like to say you can put a little nerdy in your pocket. Hey, Dritz, every time I say that, he goes. He audibly groans. So you can check us out there. We also do like clips and stuff on YouTube, but the whole full podcast there. I've started to put movie reviews up, and I'm gonna do a few other different things. So definitely hit us up on YouTube and subscribe, and then check out our social media: Facebook.com/JustAnotherNerdyPodcast and Twitter, because Twitter is a bunch of jerks. You have to do Twitter.com/JANerdyPodcast. I tried to switch everything to Jamp, but they're like, 4 letters is not enough. And I was like, IGN is at IGN. Granted, I'm not IGN, but still, like, that's 3 letters, and they get their 3 letters.
Yeah, so they probably pay money for that.
Yeah, I'm jilted, Twitter. I'm jilted. I don't want to pay money for it, though. If they gave me that option, I'd tell them, no, thank you. But yeah, so this is the podcast. You guys can catch your nerdy news here, and you can watch well-experienced 90s nerds at this point actually talk about nerdy stuff. Today, this is actually a special day. This is the full gamers reunion, really. Yeah, we all worked at a video game store together called Gamers in Grinnell, and I would argue that it was probably the best Gamers to work at.
Oh, I would.
Oh, hell
yeah. Easily.
Based on the other 2 or 3 that I've been to.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard.
Based on the phone calls with all the other managers.
Well, I've even had conversations with, for some reason, like, I would get people from, like, the Des Moines stores that would come in. Like, one guy, like, straight up told me about a robbery that happened. And then that put the fear in me every day that we were going to be robbed.
Some of those were some pretty shady locations. So.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. After moving from like South St. Louis, and everybody tells me about the shady parts of Des Moines, and I'm like, "Aw, you're so cute." Like, I get really like, that's adorable.
Yeah, Iowa's shady location.
Iowa's shady.
Iowa's shady. I found this actual it was kind of a funny video of like these guys talking about the hood of Des Moines.
Yeah.
And like they were like it was pretty funny because they were talking about like, yo, nobody knows what it's like over here. Like, everyone don't take me seriously, but I need to be taken seriously, and I'm just like, I can't even take you seriously on this video. Like, it was pretty entertaining. Oh yeah, so why don't we introduce so Nick, we actually did a pretty good introduction with you, but just a little bit of a recap. Why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself?
I'm in a band.
Yeah.
I do artwork.
Did you guys rename your band yet?
No, it's going to be that way for probably 10 years.
It's going to be 10 years. You said you were thinking about changing the name.
Yeah, we have been for a couple of years now.
I was going to say, isn't that always been the case?
It's is it still Grand Old Lady?
Grand Old Lady.
Okay, Grand Old Lady. And we actually have a link. You can go to our Facebook page, basically any video, or you can go to any of the YouTube videos, and I'll link one in the video that pops up. And in the podcast.
Okay, if you're into metal music, I highly recommend.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You can check out
I
Nick's link. It's entertaining.
I was always amused when we put it on like the music in the store. People were coming in and be like, "What the hell?" And we're like, "Enjoy it."
You will listen.
You will listen to this.
The only time I actually got to like play it, we were just kind of goofing off. It was the biggest jerk move ever, but like Travis. What was that? It was like Travis had like random like screaming.
I can't remember what the music genre.
Yeah, it was just random screaming, and so we combined that with Nick's funk music, and somehow it made a magical masterpiece.
Yeah.
Like,
pretty good matchup.
Yeah, we were all just there. The Nick's just standing in the corner, like. I'm like, I'm sorry, this is pretty entertaining. And then David's like, all right, stop, because David got easily annoyed by everything. By all of our antics. David was far too serious to be running a video game store, I think.
He went back and forth. He definitely flip-flopped. He was either way too serious or way too laid back.
Yeah. I still remember you guys remember Brandon, right? Brandon Jones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The first time he ever came into the what?
I finally started kicking him out.
Oh, did you?
Oh yeah. After he accused my wife and her friend of not being women and women not being really real. They're just it's a conspiracy theory, and then he like right before that he was like saying really racist things like, all right, you gotta leave. I'm sorry. You just gotta go.
Once you go racist, that's when you gotta get out. That's not.
You just gotta leave.
I had times where I would look at David because I'm like, my stance was like, if the store manager is in, and it's like, he's got to be the one that's got to do the hard work of booting people, And so there's this point where he was standing next to this woman, like a mother with her child, and he's going, and then she would like look over at him, and he would just, and then she would kind of look away, and he's like, and she was like, and like grab her child and pull him in closer, and I'm looking at David, and David just goes. I'm like, dude, like, you gotta do something.
That was a pretty uncanny impression of him, by the way.
David or Brandon?
Brandon.
I've had a lot of experience. I've known Brandon since he was like 9, I think, because he used to come to the pool when I worked there all the time. And back then, he had like this luxuriously long mullet. Like, I mean, it was like coiffed and everything, like, and all the way down to his butt. And he would like come and like swim, like, and him and his little brother would swim in the rain, and we would hate them because they would just put our numbers up above what we needed to stay open, and we're like, we want to go home, like, it's raining, no one's here, we're bored, like, you need to leave, and they would still just swim in the rain, and I'm like, I hate both of you. Him and his little brother, yeah, he had a luxurious mullet, and like, he still couldn't talk. Like, he mumbled worse than anyone I've ever known, but he had a semi-rational mind. at that point. I think they said like he did like he like tripped on acid or something.
Yeah.
And it burned his brain.
I was fortunate I didn't have as many bad experiences with him. But who was it that came in all the time? Older gentleman who had a son who was racist and sexist so bad that like was bitching about the fact that the newest Star Wars had a female character and it was ruining the Star Wars saga.
I don't know that man.
He came in and did trades. He had a son and a daughter, and came in and did trades. Like they would.
Is it talking about Jason Saunders?
Might have
Jason Saunders or Jason something?
It's not Matthew Ward, was it?
No.
He brought in like tons and tons of boxes. Like when Matthew Ward walked in,
he would like come in with like 2 games. He would like buy a game and then come in the next day and sell it.
I think you're talking about Jason.
I want to say Jason. It might have been Jason.
I think, well, not that
like
any of these people will watch this podcast, but
yeah, he had 2 little kids. I just remember, like, he always pissed me off, and especially when like after the Star Wars movie came out, and he like was bitching and like talking to his son about how any film that put like female leads as the main characters weren't worth watching and all that. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Fuck you, dude.
You remember that woman that was like badgering her son and screaming at him about how terrible we were, and it's like almost to an abusive level.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
She came into my restaurant once and was like, I was going to the service and I'm like, yeah, don't even try with these people. I mean, don't put your heart into this.
Don't. We had I had a guy like literally attack his son like in the store, and I froze, like I didn't know what to do, because like what he did was he like grabbed his son and put him in a headlock. It was like throwing the kid around, drug him outside and like threw him around, and like then this huge bald guy comes up to him and just like points at him, and then you just see him let the kid go. The kid comes in crying, puts the video game on the shelf, like that he was holding, leaves, like the box, because, you know, of course you have the game. So he puts the box on the shelf and then leaves. Meantime, this entire thing is going down, and the little sister is like giving us her address, like doing a trade-in, like everything. There's like just this little girl, like just another day in paradise, you know.
It's just no one's day.
And a police officer walks in and is like, hey, we heard like there was something that happened. I'm like, yeah. So I had a full conversation with the police officer, and I gave him the address that the little girl gave us. And I see that kid, or when I was working at BGM, I would see him all the time. He'd be like, "Yeah, what's up? It's the gamers guy," and I'm like, "It's the kid who got beat in the
That shouldn't be funny.
It's not, but it also kind of is, because that's the problem, the symptom of like normalization. Yeah. Like it just got normalized, and it was weird too, because I mean these were this was a Hispanic kid. His dad was of course Hispanic. But his dad came in like a Japanese samurai. Like he just like shows up in the door and he just goes, if I could like guess, it was like that man was yelling in Japanese. It was weird. Like I was like, this doesn't make sense. Like it was the weirdest thing that ever happened, but it's just this normalized like thing of abuse, and I was like, that's just really unfortunate. Yeah. But that kid, like, he just, every time he saw me though, he was so peppy, and I'm like, I don't like seeing you, kid, because that would cause me a lot of anxiety. Mm-hmm. Oh man, that store, like, I don't know. I loved it and I hated it. Like those were one of my favorite places to work in the world, and my least favorite at the same time.
Brandon Jones is the only one I ever kicked out, and I did it routinely too because of his smell.
Ooh yeah.
Every time he come in, it's like, Brandon, have you had a shower? He's like, It's like, get out. Sorry,
get out.
Get out. You cannot make this restaurant, or not make this restaurant. You cannot make this video game store smell like this. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We had
a couple people like that.
Oh yeah, well that's the unfortunate thing about video game stuff. I'm gonna move this camera back. I just realized physics.
Amazing. You move the camera back, you get more.
You get more. See? There we go. Sorry, that's been bugging me this entire time. Now we got Nick. We got all of Nick, all of Tiana. Of course you have me, but I just like show up in things. I don't know. Like the last time I saw Brandon,
That's
and
trash.
probably, that's trash.
Okay.
Last time I saw Brandon, like probably my favorite memory of him so far still is I was at I was at Walmart, and I was just walking, and he had this thing at this point where he was dressing in like white shirts and had like long hair and almost looked like he was dressing as Michael Jackson. And he pops out of one of the clothes like sections, and he just looks around, and then he just goes right back in. And I was like, "There's Brandon." Like he found his new place to troll, Walmart.
No shocker.
Yeah, no shocker. He's out there trolling around Walmart. But I saw him, I was like, "Oh no." Because like he had a thing, like he would sit down and try and talk to me for like ever at both the movie theater and at Gamers, and I was like, please don't cling to me. Like,
We had a few people that would just talk forever, and some of them I didn't mind so much because I could still work around it. But some of them it was like, okay, please, just if you leave, I could put back on my Hulu.
yeah,
Get back to work. Because I did. Like if I was working on the computer, I would just set my phone on Hulu and just be like, stream Daria or stream South Park or whatever.
Oh, I never did that. I never even thought to do that.
Oh yeah.
I
totally would just stream something in the background and.
I put as much. I was talking to Nick about this last week. Like I put all my focus into eBay, and I remember leaving and being like, "Yeah, eBay was so hard," and you guys were like, "Yeah, it's not that bad."
It really wasn't.
I was like, "The hell!" Like I put so much stress and so much focus into it. But Nick said they like got rid of like the quota aspect, which is incredibly frustrating. Because that's all I focused on was that quota, like every day trying to post.
With that quota, I still didn't have.
Oh, I hated
Just
it.
faster with computers than you are.
Yeah, I think you are. Yeah,
Maybe
because I had anxiety.
Maybe
about
I just
it.
posted so much that he didn't even bother telling me what the quota was.
It could be.
That's like really yeah. You
It
and I
could
were
be,
both
'cause I was
much
like-
faster at it.
It's like I'm trying to do it, and then people would come in, and I'd be like, Travis would be like, and I'm like, no, sit down. I'll talk to the people.
Well, that's where your mistake is. That's why.
Oh, you know what I haven't done? I haven't popped up in a chat yet. That'll pop up. If anybody's in the chat, I do apologize. I just now remembered.
Oh, we have a chat. That's a thing.
There is a chat. Yeah, we're streaming live right now, actually.
Oh.
So we stream live and then we record at the same time. There's usually one person in there. We'll see if he pops up here in a second. I'll let you know
Travis popped in last time.
when it's going. Yeah, Travis popped in,
How's
which
he
was
been?
really good. He's actually back. He's doing pretty good.
He's back, as in like he's not doing college right now. Or
He's in Grinnell, and he's going to Marshalltown, I think. I think he's going to Marshalltown because
Okay.
they said they dropped his major,
Oh.
which then complicated it. And then
That sounds like Travis's luck, though.
yeah, and then it throws you into this existential crisis. like, what do I want to do now?
I'm now working anime conventions, and there's been a few groups that I've worked with that I've been like, I know this group because I've heard Travis talk about them.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, he popped in and I had a conversation with him about like he's gonna help out with some of the technical side. Cause I was like, I wanna start a Discord. And then I tried starting a Discord. I'm like, I don't understand Discord at all. And Travis is like, I got this. It's real easy. And I'm like, okay. So he's gonna work on a Discord. So if you're watching or you're listening, seeing this even late, just check out our Discord. Actually, I'll throw a link in there. That way you can just click right into it. Because that's a thing. Like, I plan on popping into it. I just don't like running it. And then he actually talked to me about a bot. Like,
So does that mean that like nobody's watching right now?
yeah, that means nobody's watching right now.
Okay.
Happy Monday.
Shout out
Happy
to all
Monday.
those people.
Yeah, shout out to all our zeros.
Yep.
But that also lags a little bit. So, I mean, that thing will say 0 and people will be talking to me.
So we can be like,
Like,
Well, that's gotta
okay.
be frustrating.
so we could be being dicks to somebody right now, talking about how they're nobody.
Yeah, you're nobody watching our podcast.
So you used to work at a movie theater, then you managed a video game store, then you were a waiter at a restaurant,
Yeah.
and I did the exact same thing.
You did the same. Yeah, you're bartending and waiting now, aren't you?
Yeah. I worked at a movie theater before I moved here.
Yeah, like if I was saying my best job ever, it would be a movie theater, because it's the least stressful job.
I've heard good things about working at the movie theater.
Yeah, you just sling popcorn at people. Like, that's it. Like, you take your popcorn. And the amount of things that people can get mad at you about is pretty limited. So you get numb to to it, you know? Like, people are like, prices are so expensive. Yep.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Not in here. Not this town.
Yeah.
God.
Well, that's the funny part.
Anytime I hear someone bitch about the prices here in town, I'm like, are you joking?
Yeah, they're like, yeah,
like our average regular just general pricing is the matinee pricing at any other city.
They don't leave town. That's when you know someone doesn't leave town. Because I went to Dubuque one time to I can't remember what we went and saw. Watched a movie in Dubuque, and the price for popcorn was like what I spent like in total in Grinnell.
Yeah.
And in Platteville, Wisconsin, where I was at the time. Like it just, like, whenever you go to a bigger city, of course you're going to pay a lot more money.
Right.
But it's really funny listening to people complain about prices. But that's it. Or like, oh, I don't this popcorn's too salty. You know, like, you get numb to it. At a restaurant, like, there is no limit to what people will complain about. It is the most frustrating thing I've ever, like, because you have to get used to, like, jumping through the ropes of what is the next thing, like, that this person is going to complain about. Or they're going to throw the most complicated questions at you. Someone looked at me one time and was like, is this fish farm raised or wild? And I was like, I will never be able to answer that question for you.
I'm going to bullshit and tell you it was kept as a pet.
My boss was super cool. Went out, got the box, read the entire box, and was like, it doesn't say anywhere on here. But if I were to assume... And I was like, you are spending way too much energy on this question. Is this gluten-free? My answer is always no.
With the gluten-free, I mean, I actually have friends that have full-on celiac disease.
I understand
and
that.
If you have celiac disease, that's the easiest way to avoid setting that off.
That's my assumption, or like, but I always tell people though, straight up assumption, like, if you have to ask me, I'm probably gonna say yes, it has gluten in it, because I can't tell. Like, we make all of our barbecue sauces homemade, so I'm like, I have no idea where a chance of gluten could slip into that. You know,
I have the issue with shrimp, like, especially because I love sushi.
Yeah.
And if anything, like, if they're cutting up the same fish and they don't, cross-contamination can set me off.
That is a big pain in the butt. Like, I took a food safety course for when I was, like, running that deli, and that was the most terrifying thing, was like trying to think of every which way that you could harm someone, and like trying to avoid 100%, because there is no 100%, like, no way to like, you can do it about 99%. You're not gonna, but at one point you're gonna have to run into that situation, and you have to handle it as best as possible. Cross-contamination, making sure no one gets sick. Like, I yelled at one of my employees one time because he was like, he came in sick and he said his stomach hurt, and I'm like, you need to go home.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, like, what's the problem? I'm like, if you throw up in here, I have to shut this place down for 2 days and scrub it myself. I was like, go home now. So then all I have to do is put a little Lysol down. Like, I don't care. Get out of here. And he's like, okay. I was like, I don't want to deal with that stress. That's a lot of stress.
Yep.
So Nick, so you're in a band.
Mm-hmm.
You said you art?
I art.
You art?
I art.
You art. What do you art?
Oh, surreal stuff, realism, just mostly drawing.
Just drawing? That's
do
cool.
some sculptures and painting and stuff like that, but not so much anymore.
I didn't know that. That is not a side of you that I knew. That is awesome.
Got pictures up on Facebooks.
No. I didn't. Yeah, no.
He's really good too.
Wait. There's like
How did you not know this?
I don't know. I missed that. I focused on like the retro gaming and the music.
One of my mini retro game shirts on now.
Yeah, you got the sweet retro. Like you play a lot of retro stuff, which I still need to like come over to your place and show you how to make that thing work. So then you can like actually stream retro. I think you need to stream retro.
So what I'm really excited about is streaming my friend, because I'm consistently, I would say, pretty good at retro games. But he jumps from okay to absolutely horrible at random. So I really want to stream a bunch of co-op stuff with him because I think that'd be hilarious.
My sister thinks it's hilarious when she watches me play like Super Mario World because I have one speed. It's just fast. So if like I'll be like I'll do amazing throughout a level and then just fall in a hole and die, and then I'll just stop and just. And she's like, "What?" She's like, "Why did you do that?" And I'm like, "Cause I fell in a hole. Like I'm getting the repetition down. Like that's what gaming is like repetition and then learning how to do things right.
Especially
something's gonna kill you. Yeah.
I'm one of those grinders. Like I love RPG games, but I'm one of those people that like, all right, I can't get through this boss fight. That's fine. I'll just grind for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Until I'm so far ahead in the level that just demolish them in one hit. That's fine. It doesn't bother me.
That's my problem with I'm playing Stick of Truth right now and I can't beat Al Gore. So I just have to keep like going away and getting like
I've
leveling
actually
up.
never played that one, but I really want to. Like it's been on my list to get to. I think I have it on my Steam account.
It is actually quite brilliant. Like it is a good game. I was not disappointed at all when they announced that they put it on the Switch. I'm slightly considering buying it on the Switch. Yeah, they put Fractured Butthole on there first, which I thought was a mistake. Because I would buy that after Stick of Truth, and I would prefer playing it on the Switch rather than my PC because the Switch can go anywhere.
Right.
You know,
Fractured Butthole is just the most recent one.
Yeah,
I threw it on there first.
Well, it's just frustrating. Like I'm very anal, so I need like order. I need first game, next game. I know they might not even like relate, but I'm like I still need to play in a row. It takes a lot in me. Like I'm considering playing Witcher 3 without or playing Witcher 3 without playing 1 and 2.
I have heard you can do that, and I've heard it's worth doing. Like I've heard 1 and 2 is not nearly as good as 3.
Yeah, and that's what's frustrating for me. Is it takes a lot in me to do that. Grand Theft Auto 5. I really tried. I was actually at Gamers when I first started playing. I played 3 because I heard 1 and 2 is just you just run around. There's no story.
That's just a simple.
So I played 3, and then I was going to play through the rest of them, and I got cut out about halfway through. Oh, Christopher Goodrich! Hey, everybody. Jay might go start watching you guys. Oh, you might have gotten someone to start. Well, thank you, Chris. Chris is our everyday, like, he watches everything.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so Chris is here, like, he is our most loyal person.
Very cool.
Probably our second most loyal, but the person is, like, produced the most would be my sister. She actually donated the PC to me, and she'll be watching this later. So,
very cool.
Okay, so we got Nick. Tiana, why don't you tell a little bit about yourself? Tell Chris. See, there you go. Now it's 1. It was 0 like 2 seconds ago.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, why don't you tell Chris and everyone else a little bit about yourself?
Well, first off, I'm going to apologize for how much I'm yawning. I'm not a morning person. I was up late last night, and so I'm still waiting for the caffeine to kick in. I realize like I'm going to probably be looking like I'm just not interested because you guys keep talking and I'm yawning. Very rude.
That's nice. That's just our age. That's just our age. We're tired.
We're tired.
We're tired young adults, not even young adults.
Yeah,
anymore.
no, and I just got back.
Adults.
I just got back from New York and I'm still recovering.
Yeah, that's right.
I had Comic-Con.
So I messaged you last week to see if you could come in on Wednesday as well, and then we would just bring you in. But
I was still in New York.
Yeah, you were still in New York, and then Nate demanded that he would come, even being a little bit sick, and then he just never came. I was like, okay. So yeah.
So hi, I'm Tiana. I have been raised in a very nerdy world my whole life. My parents ran gaming conventions before I was born, so I actually grew up in that world. We actually I started playing Magic the Gathering in 1993, I think.
How old are you?
I was 6.
6.
That's when I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh.
90, no, so if I was 6, that would have been 95. So 1995. My little sister actually learned how to read on Magic because she wanted to play with us. My mom was like, you can't read the cards, we can't read them for you. So she would watch us play and be like, well, what's that say? Well, what's that say? And eventually she was like, see, I can read the cards. And my mom was like, okay, I guess you can play with us. And so like Christmas every year, our stockings were filled with candy and Magic booster packs. And we would spend like 2 hours every Christmas trading cards. My father had friends come over every Friday and we played. Like my whole life, we had friends come over and play. We played Blood Bowl tournaments like every year. My dad had friends that came over and you'd like every week you'd have a friend come, or you'd have somebody you were supposed to face off against, and you'd have to call and be like, all right, when are we playing our match? And then you'd record the scores, and it was like an 18-week season. It was a lot of fun. But that was my childhood. Now I work conventions for a living. I work like Comic-Cons and gaming conventions. I do burlesque. I do fire performing. I like video games.
That's what I keep forgetting to mention to people is the fire performance. Like I talk about, like I said, she does burlesque. I said you do suspension.
I do
which I think
suspensions.
Is like really, really cool. I talk about like, you know, she works at cons and stuff like that, which is amazing. Like you're probably the most experienced nerd here. Like
I actually really like when I get into experiences when people pull the, oh, you won't know anything about this because you're a girl.
Yeah. Speaking of which, my friend recently got married, and his
yes, you did spell that right. Sorry,
his nephew or cousin was talking about how girls can't play video games, and Jared's wife to be was like, "Well, put your money where your mouth is. I play some Mario. Let's have a competition on the wedding. Let's do it." And then she just kicked his ass.
Yeah. I grew up with both, like, at least my oldest sister being better than me at all the video games that we got when we were kids. So, like, she used to play Super Mario World all the time, and she was way further than any of us. And I, you know, even my mom, like, at times would sit down and play Mario. I remember her, like, I mean, she was on a little bit of medication after, like, I think it was like a back surgery or something, and she just
my stepmom has been disabled my whole life. She had an accident that caused her to she has a shattered knee and a broken spinal column, so she can barely walk. So my dad set her up with every video game console ever that came out. So like we had the Super Nintendo and then the N64 and then the PlayStation, any game that came out. My mom's 75 now, and like whenever people would come into gamers and they would be like, oh, I'm too old for video games, and I'd be like, BS. My mom's 75 and she can kick my ass in any video game ever. Like anytime we needed cheat sheets in a game, we would just go to mom and be like, so I'm stuck in the spot. Because she had already beaten it by that point. Her medication and the pain kept her up, so she didn't sleep much. So she just she has a computer set up at her chair, and she has 3 World of Warcraft accounts. Or 2 of them, I think, actually, now at this point. Because she's just constantly...
Yeah, nope, it's gone. Oh, yeah, no, first week at, like, talking about being old and, like, too old for games, like, first week at Gamers, I sold an original Nintendo console to an old man. He walked in, he's like, I need a hobby. And he's like, I want one of them Nintendos. And I was like, which one? And he's like, the first one. And I was like, okay. So I sold him an original Nintendo and a bunch of games, and he left. I never saw him again, but I'm assuming he's still playing Mario. or you know, he's too old to do anything. But
we played the N64 back when Blockbuster was still renting games. So we rented a lot of our N64 games, and then eventually like bought them from him. So like all of my N64 games had the Blockbuster stickers on them.
No.
I rented Ocarina of Time for the first time from the mop pop video store we had, and I remember I was like trying to play through it, and I would ask my mom to go and pick it up for me from time to time so I could keep playing. And then one time I accidentally picked out Majora's Mask, and I didn't have the expansion pack.
Oh.
So my mom actually yelled at the guy. She's like, how are you sending out this product? No, not knowing whether or not he can play it. And the guy's like, I'll just give you free rental, sorry. Like, whatever. So he gave us Ocarina of Time again. And then I was like, I got this gold cartridge one, but I wasn't able to play it. They're like, you need an expansion pack. So we bought the expansion pack, and we ended up actually buying the Majora's Mask as well. And that was the first time I got to play that. But I remember playing Ocarina of Time for the first time and being like, this game is awesome. Like, this giant lizard rolls up to me, and I'm like, this is the best moment of my life. And I'm like, what do I do? And then I was like, oh, you throw the bomb in his mouth? And then I remember hearing, like, the music, and I'm like, that sounds so familiar. And it flashed me back to when I was in kindergarten. I used to play Link to the Past with my friend at his house. And that's the first game I've ever played, Link to the Past.
Yeah, that was definitely one of my first games.
Yeah, so, I mean, I really, really dug that game. But once I had that connection, I was like, oh, this is that? And then I kept looking for the guards. The guards in Ocarina of Time are not the same design as, I mean, most of it's not the same design as Link to the Past, but the guards were very iconic to me in Link to the Past because they would just run up and just, you know.
So I remember, like, Ocarina of Time was definitely one of the games that I had adored. We went ahead and bought that instead of renting it. And then we got Majora's Mask. I didn't like Majora's Mask, which was really funny because then when I actually ended up trading in my N64, I mentioned that I didn't like Majora's Mask and I didn't get very far into it. And I think it was Lizzie who opened it up and was like, Tiana, for somebody who doesn't like Majora's Mask, how are you 96% through with it? Like, complete. And I totally forgot my ex-husband had taken my account. And since I had started the save file, and I was like, yeah, I don't really like this. He was like, oh, great, I don't have to go through the beginning. I'm just going to take your file. And he just played through my account. So I was going on, I was like, yeah, I really didn't like it, so I didn't actually play it. And they were like, yeah, bullshit.
You almost beat it. That's right. I remember that. Yeah, because you have to test the games, the gamers,
and you have to like clear the files.
Yeah, and reformat it, and so you could actually see where people were in different games and stuff.
Speaking of which, one of the games that I bought from gamers had some very inappropriate high score names, like super racist high score names. It's like, oh, we didn't catch this one. Whoops.
There were a lot of.
I don't really think I ever looked at the high score names because then you'd have to go through and you'd have to beat the high score to change that. So
yeah, especially those old ones, you can't just reset it.
Yeah. Never thought about that.
So with some of those Game Boy games, like I tried resetting them. I'm like, David, this is the most complicated thing. Like Pokemon, fuck Pokemon.
Oh god, Pokemon, you had to pick like the right combination. It was different for every game. They couldn't keep it consistent.
One,
up, down, left, right, BB. That type of shit for each game. Not.
But it was different for every single one. It was never consistent.
Each generation had a different thing you had to do in the startup menu. It was the most frustrating thing I've ever.
And it had, I had
to Google it every time.
3 different times that you had to go over to the. Are you sure? Are you really sure?
Yeah.
Are you really, really sure?
You're about to erase your entire Pokemon game. Do you remember the Froyas brothers? Did you ever hear about that? They were the ones. I've told this story on the podcast before, but I have to tell this again because this is the best thing ever. They asked David if they could borrow the games before we reformatted them to release the Pokemon into the wild.
Oh yes, that's right.
Because there's like an app where you can release them into the wild, and they get released online, and then people who have that app will find the Pokemon in their games, and so they're like,
seriously?
Yeah.
I thought they were...
So they wanted to release them into the digital world because they're like, these Pokemon are alive.
I remember hearing about you're killing off the Pokemon.
Yeah, he's like, you're killing
But
them.
I didn't know you could actually release them. I thought
you
they were
can
just yelling about the Pokemon.
Not just on the game, but like in this app, which would put them out there for other people to find them.
That makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
Than just hearing these portion of the story of him yelling at David for killing the Pokemon.
Yeah, and I looked at David, I'm like, you're a Pokemon murderer. And he goes, I am. Like, he just was proudly. David was a cold ass thug. He fucking. I remember I bought a 3DS from him, and it was in my hands, and I was like, "Oh, sweet! There's a Pokemon game on there." And he goes, "There is?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, let me see that." And I'm like, "You're not going to erase it, are you?" And he goes, "No, I'm not going to erase it." I said, "Because if you erase it, I'll fucking kill you." And he's like, "No, I'm not going to erase it." He takes it and he reformats it. And I'm like, "You son of a bitch." And then I had pre-ordered Pokemon, the Sun and Moon for the TV show I was doing. And he calls me. He's like, "Hey, are you going to come pick that up?" I'm like, "No, I'm not buying shit from you, Mr. Reformatter." I was like, "I'm going to Walmart today." And he goes, "Okay." Like, I was so pissed off. I was like, "You bastard." He would. I watched him fire Kevin in front of his own mom. Like, in front of his mom. Not just, like, later on. Like, his mom was right there. And he's like, "Yeah, I got to let you go. Sorry." David's a cold-ass gangster. He pissed me off so much. But yeah, he would, like, "You're murdering those Pokemon." He'd be like, "Yeah, I am."
He only made me mad once, like, legit mad. And that was, like, the day I met him.
Oh,
What?
yeah?
Yeah.
What did he do?
Well, I sold him the 64. Okay, it might have been the day I met him, but when I went in to sell the 64, he didn't know how to do something. So I'm like, "Oh, wait, you just," and I, like, took a step beyond that border. Like, he's like, "No, you can't come back here." He put his hand on me. He was like, shoved me away. I was like, "You can't touch the," I wasn't saying anything, but I was like, "You can't touch the customer.
You can't touch
like
people. Yeah.
What are you doing?"
I just say, like, "Hey, sorry, don't come back here." Like, I was a dick about it, but, like, I wouldn't touch anyone. Like, unless they come at me. If they come at me, then but I never had any, like, problems like that. Yeah, I can't believe he did that. He was pretty ferocious about that line, though, wasn't he?
Well, we
Oh,
had
yeah.
a lot of people
Yeah.
who would just, like, wander back there. God knows I was pissed off about it all the time.
Oh yeah. Well,
I was more annoyed at, like, our lack of, like, we just had a stool there with a little note.
And it said, "Please don't cry."
It would have been so easy to just install, like, a little rope. Or
Yeah,
something.
Yeah, a little rope.
I brought that up so many times when I started working there. It's like, we should just have something. And
Yeah, you just
Yep.
right there. That way they don't walk across, and then people can use that stool, because I can't count how many times I've watched people go up, take the note, set it on the counter, grab the stool, and sit down, and I'm like, "Oh, they're gonna be here for a while."
Yeah, and then there was that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have a conversation with you forever. Which, like, so, like, Dritz was talking about, he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry I used to come in and bother you." I'm like, "You never really bothered me." I was like, "There's certain people that I didn't mind talking to, because I could work and talk at the same time." Like, but there are certain people, they would walk in, like...
It was the couple people
man.
who were just super racist or sexist, and I only had one person that was an issue where I actually had to, like, call somebody to walk me home. I did have one stalker problem.
Oh.
I remember you saying something about that.
Yeah.
There were some, I mean, you got some characters in there. Like, that was what I told people, like, I was like, that's where I saw a different side of Grinnell. Because, like, a movie theater, it has that pay gate wall, like, people, not everyone's going to come into the movie theater. You got a certain amount of money that they're going to spend before they'll come into the movie theater. Yeah. You really only have to deal with them for like 2 or 3 seconds. At Gamers, like, I had a guy come in holding his baby, trying to trade it. He's like, "I need $150 for water to turn my water back on." And he's like, trading in this Xbox 360. And I'm like, "Best I can do is 50. Sorry."
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, you just see all sorts of people come in. I had 2 guys
that bring stuff in, and they're trading it in for drugs, or they're trading it in. It's stolen goods or something like that.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh come on, dude.
Well, so Brandon, I guess, was like a dealer, and so what he would do is he would actually take the like video game consoles and iPods and stuff as currency, and then, like, give them their weed or whatever. And then he would try and trade some of that stuff in, and like most of it would be fine. Like an Xbox 360, you can reformat pretty easy. However, like, he brought me like this iPod one time, and I was like, I can't. I was like, I can't take this in, and you don't know the passcode. And then he started lecturing me about how there are satellites in Venus and Mars, and without without those satellites, none of this shit works. And they're in the Bible, and I'm like, no passcode, no trade. Like I just looked at him. I was like, "It's time for you to leave," and he'd be like, "Ugh." It's like, people. I don't remember who I worked with that day, but they gave me the weirdest look, like, "What the heck?" And I'm like, it's just another day with Brandon.
Yeah.
Just another day. That was the first day I ever met him. He walked in and he just laid down. Mm-hmm. And I was like,
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Tell me
David,
about that.
that guy's laying down in the corner. David's like, goes up, he's like, you okay, buddy? He's like, yeah, man, I'm all right. David goes, okay, and then walks away. And I'm like, yeah, you really should just not let someone lay down in your store. Yeah. Those were the good old days. Good old gamers. So, what have you guys been up to, Nick, past week? Anything interesting?
Watch anything new? A very old school Halloween movie.
Which one was that?
The Curse.
I've never even heard of that one. Have you? What's that about?
It's a horror movie about a meteor that comes down and infects the water, and they slowly turn into kind of like Deadite type people from Evil Dead.
Oh, okay. It
was pretty good. The first half of it was really, really boring. I didn't think I could be able to sit through it, but then I did. So second half's worth watching. First half, not so much.
Is that like your Halloween like celebration type of? You try to get like some horror movies in there?
I'm a little bit of a horror movie buff too. So.
Okay.
I didn't watch a lot of horror movies growing up, but I've been trying to catch up the last couple of years.
I don't like so this is classic me. Like my tradition is watching family Halloween movies. Mm. So like we hunted down Casper the other day and watched it. Surprisingly, that movie holds up really well over time. Like the graphics even look pretty good for being like, what was it, early 90s?
Yeah,
maybe mid 90s. And like they had Ghostbuster references in there. Mm-hmm. Like there was an amazing part where Dan Aykroyd actually comes out of the house, looks at the villain, and he goes, "Who you gonna call?" Someone else. And he walks away. Yep. And then they had some guy from SNL. They had a part where like the guy's face in the mirror was changing. So he turned into Mel Gibson, Clint Eastwood. Like these were their actual, like this is them stepping in for a moment to have their face in the camera. Like they actually had these people in the movie. It was weird.
Yeah, I don't remember much of anything about Casper.
It's really
it was one of my favorite movies as a kid. I don't think I've seen it since I was a kid.
Oh yeah, we rewatch it quite a bit, but I never looked at it from a critical eye until like this last round. I was like, I kind of want to see like how this holds up, and I was like, this holds up. Like the graphics, the jokes, everything.
Was it you or was it David that was absolutely terrified of zombies?
It's me.
You.
It's me. Okay. I hate zombies. I will play zombie games.
Zombieland poster right behind you.
Yeah, right? This is the best poster though for me because there's no actual like zombies on it.
I heard they're making a Zombieland 2, right?
Yeah, they're making a Zombieland 2. That's okay, so Zombieland like really hit me in my most primal fears when that movie came out because this was before I was dating even. And so like cute girl comes over, wants a moment of safety because she got bit by a homeless man. He falls asleep and wakes up and she's a zombie. And I'm like, fuck that! I'm done with women forever. Like that's how much zombies scare the shit out of me. And like if a cute girl walks over, like a homeless man came at me, I'd be like, you get the fuck out of here. You're not even allowed in the building. I will chase you out with a pitchfork, woman. Like that was horrifying to me. Like that's scary. But like I'll play like other zombie games. Like I played Last of Us. Like that's fine. Left 4 Dead, I think I've played a little bit of that. I still need to play through the whole series.
I played Left 4 Dead when it first came out. I remember because I'm not very good at shooter games because I have like between my tremble and like I'm just not very good at shooters in general. And I remember all my friends were playing it, and they were like, "Tiana, you should play with this." And I was like, "Guys, I'm not gonna be. I'm just gonna slow you down." They're like, "That's fine. We'll cover you. Don't worry about it.
We'll cover you. We got you.
We got you."
People, I don't know what it is. People love doing that. It's like that's what they do in Diablo. Like my sister and my brother-in-law.
I'm great at Diablo.
They're like, we're gonna replay Diablo, and they're like level 80, playing like at the first level with me, and they're like, just grab this gear, and I'm like, this is not fun.
So I played Diablo 1 as a kid, and then when Diablo 2 came out, my dad actually locked himself in his office for 48 hours and didn't come out. And then it came out and was like, okay, you guys can play it now.
You can have
now
your
you
shot.
can try it.
Yeah, I'm not very good at shooters either. I usually have my name set as kill me, so people know. But yeah, it's intentional, you know. It only lasts for 30 seconds. I planned it that way.
Yeah.
I am as good as video games as I can be on my own. So whenever it comes to single player shooters, I guess one of my favorite games ever that's come out in the past, like probably, I don't know if it's 2 years old now, but Prey.
Yeah.
Prey came out as a Bethesda game. Same people who made Dishonored, the Arcane Studios, I think. Bethesda and Arcane worked together on it. And my buddy played it, and I breezed through the story and everything, and I played it on probably like normal difficulty. And he was playing, I think, on easy mode. And he goes, "Dude, I don't know how you beat this." He goes, "This is actually pretty difficult." And he's he's decent at shooters and stuff. Like, he loved Borderlands. He played through all that stuff. And he's like, "I don't understand." And I was like, "Well, I mean, I do a lot of backtracking. I always pick up the turrets and set them up." And I said, sometimes, I'd have to strip, you get some, pretty beefy bad guys. And what I do is I upgraded my turret, ability, so I could make turrets, even more powerful and, super beefy. And so I'd set them up in a hallway, and I'd go down the hallway and just pop the bad guy a couple times, get him to chase me. And then he'd come around that corner of that turret and just rail him.
Commenting on the Halloween horror movies.
I don't think Chris is a big
I didn't like horror movies much in my life earlier, but last 5 to 10 years watching more scary movies, helping my parents put tons of decorations, probably the reason I like Halloween. Oh, dude, decorating my house,
yeah.
We haven't started yet. I think we're gonna start
tonight,
but we go all out. Devin and I.
Nice.
We'll decorate like freaking nuts, and then we don't take them down until Christmas decorations go up.
Grace was like, "Do you want to do you want to get the cobweb, spiderwebby stuff for the bushes?" And I'm like, "That's a pain in the ass."
Oh, dude.
But did you see my pumpkin out there?
No,
I got the biggest. So we go to this pumpkin patch in Iowa City. It's a apple orchard pumpkin patch, and I got the biggest pumpkin I could get. And apparently they have a weight limit where they just stop charging.
Oh, really?
$15 is as much as they're going to charge you for their pumpkin. And mine was going to be a $20, $25 pumpkin, and they just charged me $15.
Nice.
Sweet.
I grabbed that. Grace goes, that's a big pumpkin. I'm like, we're going big this year. We bought a house. We're getting a big pumpkin. And I'm like, and we parked the car close, because normally we park it way up this hill, and I'm like, I'm not carrying that all the way up the hill. This time I'm like, the car's right here. We're just
we're still house shopping, and we're looking at houses on Wednesday, but we're already excited. As soon as we own a house, we're going. Not only do we want to go nuts on Halloween decorations, but Devin's already been planning how to do the lights that are associated to music.
Oh,
he's already. I think he wants to be Thunderstruck. I think it's the song he's already picked out. He's like,
that's awesome. Yeah, we we might at some point, but right now I still have 100 projects to do on my house. This
Devin's
was one of those.
Already working on it. We don't even have the house yet.
I say this is one of those things where when we bought this house, they were okay, they're we don't want to fix anything, and we filed with them about $5,000. $5,000 is what when it comes to buying a house, $5,000 is nothing.
Yeah.
And so they're like, well, fine, we're not gonna fix anything. And we said, okay, but if there's anything major, you have to fix that. So we get the report in from the inspection, and it's it's a long report.
Oh, wow.
And there were little things there was a tree rubbing on top of the roof, so we trimmed that down. There was our dryer vent went out into the garage, which there's a carbon monoxide issue if you're warming your car up in there or something. So we ended up running it out of the house finally. But the biggest thing is the septic system had to be redone. That's why there's dirt all the way up my driveway. And then the main beam in the house is all twisted. So they had to fix those. We were we can't get a loan if you don't fix that. So fought it out with them. They did that, but all the little things we have to go around and do, which is not ideal, but I mean,
that's what happens when you buy a house.
Yeah. Got projects for days, and they said it never stops. And I'm like, okay,
pretty much.
That's what I'm not looking forward to.
Yeah,
house shopping too. Just I want to mow my own lawn or take care of all this stuff.
Well, that stuff is not so bad. The actual house buying process is a goddamn nightmare, because I kind of started comparing it to dating. You have to find the right house. But then when you pick the right house, then you have to talk to the owners, who are kind of like the parents, and you got to make that deal work. You got to bring them your best goat, and they're bastards about it too. Like they're ruthless, and so you've got all this work. But then we went and we talked to different banks. We checked like scores and ratings and stuff, and like so then you gotta go through that whole process, and then the banks are like trying to get their part in it. So they're like, oh, gotta do this, gotta do that, and it's just like by the end I was like. Matt was like, my boss was like, you look super stressed. Like, my neck was like all the way, like stiff all the way up. And he's like, you look really stressed out. I'm like, I don't like this process. I want to buy the house. I want to do the damn work. Which we did. And most of it's done. Like, we got curtain rod hung. This podcast, that thing was the worst thing to hang in my life. Like, there's actual, like, decking board behind it so it doesn't rip out of the studs. My uncle gave me that for my birthday like a couple years ago. I haven't been able to hang it up since, and I was like, I'm hanging it up for the podcast. I was like, this is not easy.
Deborah and I have been arguing about artwork because I have a ton of fantasy art, like a lot of Thompson and L.A. Williams and stuff like that. And Devin's, it's all like dragons and wizards and shit like that. And Devin's like, yeah, that's nice. I'm not into that. And I'm like, that's fine, but this is all really expensive, nice, fancy artwork, and I'm putting it up. I love my art. And he's like, yeah, no, you're not.
Grace has the rest of the house. I have this room.
Oh, yeah, he told me, he's like, you can have your library.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's one room. I have enough artwork for 3 houses. I'm putting up my damn work. We ran an art studio, we ran an art gallery at the Ren Fair in St. Louis for 15 years. And it's all very, very popular, famous fantasy artists that we ran the studio for.
You should see my parents' decoration outside. If Jay shows my Twitter page to you guys, the big pictures is from last year. I could bring it up real quick.
Sarah has a few hang-ups about art as well, but I think the only one is if it's something big and it looks like it could be staring at her, she doesn't want to look at that in certain rooms.
I have like these gorgeous, like really detailed like dragons, and there's one that I've got that's a triple piece of Stonehenge with like lightning coming down, and it's like broken up into. It's gorgeous. I absolutely love it. When my ex and I split, actually, it's the only thing he was mad about me taking was all the artwork, and I was like, too fucking bad, it's not yours, and I can't afford to replace any of this.
I don't know why that's got the wrong title. Okay, let's look up Chris here.
Yeah, we just keep on talking about that James Gunn.
Christopher Gunn. Yeah, we keep talking about the James Gunn controversy because... Oh, is it this? Oh, okay, I see.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
Very nice.
that. I see this. Yeah, there's a lot going on here. Wow.
There's a lot going on.
This is like, if you don't stop here for candy, you're the dumbest kid in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
We had...
Good job, Chris.
Did you guys hand out full candy bars? I might be over. I'm going to dress as a famous podcaster.
This actually reminds me when
Joe
I was
Rogan.
a teenager. My ex-husband, his best friend, had one of those families that decorated ridiculously like that, and they all got in costume and they did like a haunted house in their front yard every year.
Okay.
They went full out. One year a news station pulled up because they said they were trying to find like the best decorated yard.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And we were like, oh, that's super cool. And they wanted to interview the mom of the household. All the kids in the house were like, oh, that's super cool. What they wanted to interview her about was apparently there was some child molesters that had recently let out of prison in the neighborhood.
Oh my God.
They wanted to know from her opinion how she felt about them living in the neighborhood, and she was like, I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah.
So we had this haunted house, and we had a working guillotine with demons, everybody was dressed up as demons working this working guillotine with fake blood spurting out the whole bit. They had a full-blown haunted house in their front yard, and then the news station with cameras chasing the mom around the front yard trying to get this interview, and she's like, go away. That was our Halloween that year. It was entertaining.
That poor woman.
Okay, they don't give out full candy bars, but they do kids take 2 to 3 pieces of candy, which is basically a full candy bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
We had, one of the reasons why I'm so exhausted this weekend is we had my family's huge Halloween party this weekend.
My dad's is in 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah, we planned it out. It's it's something we take all year to plan. We got food for 400 people. I think the last estimate was 170 people showed up. So like I was in the kitchen because I used to do the haunted house every year. That's the other thing is like we put a lot of effort into the haunted house. Chainsaws with no chains, but yeah,
That's the important part.
We might break a few rules and goose a few people with the chainsaws. But there's like, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. And I used to do it all the time when I was a kid. And I got like, I did it last year and I kind of got tired of it. Like you sit in a corner and just go boo for like an hour. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, when I was a kid, that was the most fun I've ever had in my life. Now, because, you know, you get to see people's reactions, and it's kind of funny, but I'm like when I was an adult, I'm like, I just want to go eat chili. So I put myself in the kitchen this year. So we made like a buttload of chili, a lot of potato soup, and then a whole bunch of hot dogs. We got like 400 hot dogs, and you just hand out chili, potato soup, and hot dogs and stuff. But it's a big ordeal. Like, I mean, it was a big ordeal, but perfect weather. Now, though, today I'm like, ugh. I'm tired. Like, and then work was crazy. So like Friday we had a nice big party, and then yesterday we had a funeral of 40 people on top of our regular busy Sunday, and I was like, like I don't want to do this. I was so tired. So today, like, I'm lucky. Like, I'll set this up at night now. I'll do all the lighting and stuff at night, so I'm not like having to wake up in the morning and like handle lighting and stuff. So set everything up at night, and then I went to bed and I woke up and all I had to do today was take the trash out. So
I've got to unload my car. I had a fire practice last night in Des Moines, and I stopped to unload all the fuel out of my car. So there's like just a bunch of cans of white gas in the trunk.
Oh, that's fun.
That's been sitting in my trunk for forever. So I have to haul all of that out.
How does that look if you get pulled over and they look in your trunk? I don't.
Well, I mean, it's pretty easy when it's like, because I've got all my props back there too, so it's pretty easy to explain. Like,
it's like, do you want a demonstration, officer? I could do some fire spinning for you. It'd be dope.
Yeah.
Much. I can see you pulled over on the side of the road, just like spitting fire. And there's an officer just.
I have actually had it before where I've had somebody be like, "Wait, what are you carrying?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's a prop." Done little tricks because I do like my levitation wand is my new prop that I've been getting really into, which is like a little magic trick.
That's cool.
Really excited about it.
That's something I was actually thinking about doing. My boss and I had a conversation. We think that it would like be good scoring for tips as a waiter,
magic?
Like learning magic, like sleight of hand. And then, you know, you do it for kids, you know, like, oh, hey, come here. Yeah, you want to see that?
Probably good tips for me to juggle.
Here's your menu.
Wait, do you know how to juggle?
No, not very well. I mean, okay. I can a little bit, but that would be where the good tips come in because I'm so bad at it. Be like, oh, watch me juggle. Yeah, watch me juggle. Oh.
I desperately need to learn how to juggle. For everything that I know how to do, juggling is one thing I don't. I do love the joke, though, like when people start to teach you how to juggle, and the first thing they do is like, all right, the very first thing you have to learn how to juggle, and they just drop the ball. They're like, all right, pick it up. Practice that for a while. It's the most important thing you have to learn.
I am highly impressed by jugglers. There was actually a couple of guys on the cruise ship that we went on a while ago that were well-practiced jugglers, and if there's anything you know about it, like just the idea of juggling on a boat. Like, and they were like doing knives and stuff too, nice. And I'm like, this is nuts. I'm like, because one false move on this boat, and you're getting a knife in the shoulder.
My brother juggles fire. He's got his juggling balls are actually, so they're steel cages with wicks inside, and he actually lights them on fire and then juggles them while they're on fire.
That's cool. But yeah, I just remember like the boat shifting, and this guy's on a unicycle with like throwing knives back and forth. I'm like, that's impressive. Like, you have to have serious respect for anyone who can juggle on a unicycle on a boat.
Yeah.
With sharp objects.
Yeah.
Like the amount of pressure. No, thank you.
Yep. Well, speaking of Halloween parties, I was invited to one on Halloween, and it was a Harry Potter themed party.
Sweet.
But I've neither read nor seen any Harry Potter.
Oh, you haven't Harry Pottered at all?
I actually have not seen most of the movies. I've only seen like half of them. But I'm currently, because I've been driving back and forth between like Des Moines so much and Iowa City, I've been listening to them on audiobook, and I'm halfway through the last one.
I did one read through on the books, and then I just rewatched the movies from time to time. Like that's been it. Like I used to have all the books, but they're somewhere in my mom's house.
Yeah.
I thought about just dressing up as the wrong wizard, just coming in as Gandalf. I was asking Sarah, I was like, oh, so do they dress different? And she's like, well, they wear robes. I'm like, all right, well, then I guess I'll just have to, come in going, I'm not a conjurer of cheap tricks and stuff like that.
It's genius.
You're definitely going to stand out. That's going to be the best part. Like, yeah, come in as Gandalf and be...
All right, there's where my wallet went. Jay took it when I seen you that last time.
He's talking about, like, because I was talking about sleight of hand. I haven't learned it yet, Chris, so... I don't know where your wallet went.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think they canceled that party since they got to move like the next day. So
oh yeah,
that's not gonna work out for them.
You don't want to do that.
My dad throws this huge Halloween party every year. It's bigger for my dad. Halloween is bigger than Christmas or Thanksgiving or like anything. Halloween is his big thing of the year. But lately, because of health issues, him and my mom haven't been able to be the ones planning it. So my older sister is the one who's been doing the planning. So she's been doing themes the last few years. Last year was a wedding theme.
Really?
Like, so people were showing up as like
Beetlejuice.
It actually would have been genius, but
yeah.
There was some people that were showing up as like the bachelorette party or the like the weird uncle or things like that.
Oh,
Devin and I showed up as the entertainment for the bachelor and bachelorette party.
Okay.
Devin showed up in like a cop uniform that you could rip off. It was hilarious.
Nice.
This year the theme is decades from the past, so it's like a previous year's party. I haven't decided what I'm doing.
I'd probably go 80s.
I'm considering that. I've got enough glow stuff.
I'd go 90s because you could get those deep pocket jeans and like throw on a backwards cap and like a Nintendo shirt or something.
I've been trying to decide if I wanted to go do 80s or if I want to do like 1800s because I could also do. I've got so much Ren Fair clothes. You could totally.
I mean, yeah, that wouldn't be too hard.
I haven't grown since the 90s, so I might be able to find some old clothes.
I would have to buy all brand new clothes. Like, unfortunately, like I got probably to my biggest in the 2000s, and then like when I was a 90s kid. Like I grew up in the 90s.
I still have some of my 90s goth wear. Nice. My fishnets. I've got this like flame shirt that I had from like the late 90s.
It's been forever.
Totally pulled off.
I don't think I have any clothes from when I was a kid though. Like I do know my mom, because she's my mom. Like every day I showed up one day and she's holding a Ninja Turtle onesie, and I was like, "The hell is that for?" And she's like, "You're a future kid someday," and I'm like, "Yeah." About that. Like, I mean, it's just like, we're not there yet. Like, like, you gotta slow down, Mom. She's like, "What? It's okay to hold on to it." And I'm like, give it to some other kid who can wear it right now. Like, I
don't want it.
Like, I was like, I really don't need it yet. Like, it's like one day, maybe. Right now, no. It's like if the woman was pregnant, buying a onesie makes sense, but like my wife's not even pregnant. Like she's, they all get all like worked up because they're like, "Well, when are you gonna tell us? When we're damn good and ready." Like, so that makes them think all the time like she's pregnant, but she's not. And we're like, no, not really. Like, it's frustrating.
I'm fortunate. Like Devin's sister just had a kid a few months ago. We no longer have to be the ones to.
Yeah.
Because that's not happening.
Well,
on my mother's side, because like my older siblings have kids, but they're all on my dad's side. They're my half siblings. For my mother, her 2 blood kids aren't going to be able to ever have children. So my fake sibling, I have like one of those like adopted brothers, one of those that like shows up to all the holidays, but not actually related to you. He also just had a kid, so my mother gets to like be a grandma without actually having kids.
We have like a whole bunch of people like that in my family that like whenever like one of my cousins or something gets like a boyfriend and then they break up with the boyfriend, and then a lot of times the boyfriend will just stick around. It's like,
this is somebody who, so it started off as when my younger brother was in the Ren Fair, so we had a booth, we were merchants, and my younger brother joined cast. But we still made lunch for him every day. But because he was in cast, he was eating lunch with cast, and so one of the other merchants were coming over and eating his lunch every day. And so we were joking. I was joking, and I was like, "So what? Are you my brother now?" And like then he just started hanging out for like all of our like family meals, and then he started coming over for holidays, and then we started spending more time together than all my other siblings. And like 15 years later,
that joke is even funnier.
15 years later, he might as well be my brother.
That happens.
Yeah.
We've adopted quite a few people into our family, like quite a few. One of my cousins got a straight up like full on divorce, and we still hang out with her husband, her ex-husband, all the time.
Dude, like, my ex and I split. My dad actually called him to say, "Just so you know, I know you guys split, but you're still family." And I was like, "Dad, could you have called me first and checked to make sure how I felt about that?"
Want to run that by me? No.
I was not pleased.
Parents. I know if I get kicked out of the family, my wife's like 100% like still there. She fits in better than I do. We make a joke now that she's the new favorite child. It's like my mom will defend her like to the end of time. Because I used to be technically, this is how I tell it to my sister. My sisters are like, "You're the favorite child," and I'm like, "No, here's what happened. Okay, you two got older, and you left the house. And when you leave the house, then a more substantial amount of money is saved, to which then the parents don't know what to do with other than just spend it on the one child who's still there." I was like, "So yeah, I was kind of spoiled, but that's your fault for leaving." Like, and they're like,
"Is that how that works?"
That's exactly how that works. Because like whenever you leave, the parents have more money. And my parents were like, "I don't know what to do. I guess we're going to buy him a GameCube." I was like, "Jay, you adopted me as your dog." Yeah, you're in my backyard right now, right? I got that fenced-in backyard. Chris always makes jokes about being in my bushes.
No.
It's just, yeah, he's out in my bushes. I would know if he really was, because they'd be rattling. But... and he'd be completely uncomfortable, and I highly doubt he has a laptop there. And he doesn't know my password yet.
Yet.
I
like the yet.
Yeah.
So how long is this podcast?
I don't... So we usually do about an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2. It just depends. It sounds like you're like...
No, I was just in the curious, like...
Yeah, because we have to
like
go for an hour.
Or 2:15 or
Okay,
something.
We ended up blowing through that podcast. I never even realized. Let's do just a little bit of nerdy news. I did not prepare the graphics today, because I was...
Yeah, I'm in no rush.
just
Like,
not
I had
into
nothing
it.
else going on. I wasn't sure.
This is actually my day off. I've been considering actually moving the podcast to today. But okay, so... Well, first news we could talk about a little bit. So I guess Iron Fist. Have you guys watched the Iron Fist TV show on Netflix?
Halfway through the second season.
How do you like the second season?
It's better.
It is better. They canceled
It's still not
it.
that good.
They canceled it.
Really?
Yeah, Netflix has announced that they are canceling Iron Fist. There are a few petitions going out, like people do, but
Yeah, the
I'm
first one was
not.
pretty boring. This one's still pretty boring, but it's more interesting.
Well, so what I hated about the first season was that he was so grumpy, like he was almost Batman-y, in a sense. That dark, gritty and he had this. I hate his hair. I really hate his hair. It flops. It flopped so much in that show, like especially the first season because he had it longer and it would like flop around. He'd be like, "I am the immortal Iron Fist."
Yeah, we were taking drinks every time he brought that up or fought dragons or something like that.
Oh,
it's
man.
Like, all right.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, so the thing about it is like he's like I've seen him in like the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon and a few other things, and he's usually a pretty chill guy. Like that's his whole shtick is he's zen, you know.
Except he's really
He's like,
not.
yeah, he's like, "I'm zen." Well, in this one, he's like, "Rah, rah, rah, rah." There's like no. The first episode is really interesting because it shows him interacting with a hobo, and I thought that was going to be the tone of the show. Is like he just makes friends with a hobo and hangs out with him like a New York hobo, and he's like, "We're friends now. This is where we are." And I was like, "This is cool. I like this." And then they completely abandoned that, and then went to him being grumpy all the time.
He may even be more angsty in the second season.
Are you
God,
serious?
no.
Oh, he's too grumpy. he is too grumpy and angsty. Like, it was really frustrating. And it was, the way that he shifts is the most jarring thing, because it's still in the first episode. You see him try to be like super zen the whole time, and his buddy's like, "You're not Danny." And he's like, "I am Danny." And he's like, "You're not Danny. Danny's dead." And he's like, "No, I'm Danny." And then like he like snaps at the guy, tries to drive the car into a wall, and just like, "Well, I'm the immortal Iron Fist." And then from then on, that was the tone of the show, and I was like, "This is shit." Like, so they canceled it. Some people are upset. They did say, however, and this is the news part, that they did announce that like he's still going to be in the other shows.
I would like to see. I like to see him with Luke Cage, because they were partners in the comic book, and I thought they had pretty good chemistry together.
Yeah, they had really cool in the Defenders. There's actually a great scene where like Luke Cage pulls like really shows his white privilege on it. Like, he's just like, you're rich. You have a superpower, and you're a white boy. He's like, you got nothing to bitch about. And like, he whips that out on him in 2 seconds, and you just see Danny like his whole world just changes there. Because he's like, my parents died, and I was in an accident, and I had to like learn kung fu and kung lao and stuff. And he's like, you're still a rich white boy. Shut up.
Yeah. I haven't commented on Sarah. I think maybe last night, because he was talking about. I was like, oh, being rich, all that stuff, that ain't my bag. And just like, well, you can choose not to have your privilege. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You're rich. You can't choose not to be rich. Well, I guess you can, but
you can choose to not be rich.
But you still got your money.
You can't choose white. Like, there's no choosing white privilege. I don't think there's really no choosing. I mean, your choices land you where you are, but at the same time, you're also born into some things.
Yep.
And that's the lesson. And whether it's a big deal or not, I mean, Danny doesn't have a lot of, like, his name will forever leave him privileged.
Yep.
Alone. Okay, so that's over. As things die, some things are born. Sherlock creators are announced that they're going to be doing a Dracula TV series on BBC. So that's actually pretty exciting. I think Stephen Moffat, there is a picture of Stephen Moffat with this. I'm pretty sure he was running Doctor Who for a while, and he is one of the creators of Sherlock. So it seems like he's going to have some free time, because he left. He's not doing this new season of Doctor Who. It's passed the torch.
Did you see the first episode?
I did.
I did not get to. They streamed it from Comic-Con on my stage. I was backstage working, so I didn't get to see it. But I heard so many good things.
So I watched it through means that should not be distributed, because I have cable. I just don't have BBC. So I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna watch this.
It was one of the panels on my stage that I was running.
It was incredibly enjoying. Like, she has almost a David Tennant vibe. The first time I ever saw her, actually, on the Christmas special, she, like, when you see her, she looks in the mirror and she goes, brilliant, and she sounds exactly like David Tennant right there. And then she still has a bit of a David Tennant vibe. She's got a lot of youthful energy to her. She adopts a very similar accent that he adopted. I don't know if that's just her normal accent, but
it is.
She does a fantastic job.
Yeah, I've been really excited about her, and I know there's been a lot of people like divided on the whole female doctor thing, but I know for me, I've been very excited.
Normal bullshit is going to come out when
excited.
The people are like, oh, they're just pandering. Whether or not they're pandering, look at the art and see what the content is. And it's good content. It's not bad. Best thing ever is the bad guy. I won't go into it. I won't spoil anything for you, because the bad guy is, what she does with the bad guy is the best. Like, the bad guy is very creative. What she does to him or her or whatever, demeaning the character, is hysterical. Like, she's fantastic. And she still, I mean, the great thing about this and the way they put it into canon, it's the doctor figuring the doctor out, and she has like a whole monologue about, she's like, I have to get to know myself. Right. So, and that kind of works organically when you have these actors try and establish who they want to be and how they want to play it. Thus why Capaldi took so long to kind of like fall into a new flow. It's the Doctor figuring himself out. Right. Now it's the Doctor figuring herself out. And so this could be a completely different Doctor by the end of the season, but starting off, she's doing a fantastic job. Jodie Whittaker's killing it.
The other panel that we had that I was really excited about was Good Omens, because it's one of my favorite books.
I saw that a trailer popped up, and it's on our page, guys. If you want to go and check that out, there is a Good Omens trailer. I just haven't watched it yet myself.
Are you familiar with the book?
No.
Do you know who Neil Gaiman is, right? Or Gaiman?
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, so he did Sandman. Oh, okay. Coraline. He did Stardust. He did. God, he's done so much. American Gods.
Oh, speaking of, I accidentally have a whole month subscription to Starz, so I may watch American Gods.
It's amazing. Yeah. They did very well keeping to the book. Again, also one of my favorite books. But Good Omens is a book about it's an angel and a demon who are stationed on Earth from like the beginning of time to watch over how things are going. And because they're both stationed on Earth, they kind of like get together for coffee sometimes, and they kind of become friends. And they both find out from their respective areas that the apocalypse is about to happen, and they both decide, well, we don't really want the apocalypse to happen because we kind of like it here on Earth and we don't want to go back.
We're digging it.
So we're gonna mess with it. And at the very beginning of the book, the Antichrist is born in a hospital, and the angel and demon screw with the hospital and they switch the children. They switch the baby with a different set of parents that's also had a kid. So as each side, the heaven and hell, are trying to influence this child, are supposed to be influencing the Antichrist. And they're like sending in like, I don't know, it's like the nanny and then the gardener are like one's from heaven, one's from hell, and they're trying to influence this child. What they're doing is they're influencing this just random child while the Antichrist is actually being born in, like, it was actually being raised in a just general neighborhood, in a suburban household. Mm-hmm. There's at one point, like, Satan sends a hellhound to Earth to go to the Antichrist, and when the Antichrist touches it, it's supposed to turn into his own dog, his own personal dog. And so everybody's watching this child, waiting for the dog to show up, and it never shows up. And it shows up into this suburban household, and he touches it, and it turns into like a beagle or something like that. So it's this angel and demon who are like trying to keep the apocalypse from happening by switching the children. And so like the whole story is about both the angel and demon and the kid who's just being raised, the Antichrist being raised in a suburban household.
So, okay,
it's hilarious.
Because David Tennant's in there.
David Tennant's the demon.
He plays the demon?
He plays the demon.
Who plays the angel?
I'm trying to remember.
Was it Simon? I didn't think it looked like Simon Pegg, but it also looked like it might not have been him.
Let me check. Anyways, the book is absolutely, it's just like a standalone book that Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett wrote. And
Let's see if I can...
Amazon Prime is making a show. It's coming out next year. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm gonna Amazon Prime. I'll definitely check that out.
If you don't have Amazon Prime, like, get it. Like, that is one of the most valuable, like, music. They have like a Netflix for music.
Michael Sheen.
Oh, Michael Sheen. That's even better.
Michael Sheen is playing the angel.
That's awesome. But yeah, no, I have a because like now they started handing out free video games too.
Wait, what?
On Amazon Prime, they're handing out games online. Like if you have a Twitch account, you log into Twitch and they give you games.
Huh.
I have and some of them are okay. Some of them are really cool. Like they gave me Psychonauts, which is one of my favorite games ever. But also there's like games like Emmanuel Samuel. It's about like it's kind of like an Octodad thing where like you have to run each part of his body. And then there's like I got Brutal Legend from there. They just have a list. The Banner Saga, like all those they've handed out. Like so Amazon Prime is one of the best investments ever. 100 to 130 a month, I think. Maybe 130 a year. So you spend that money and then you get like, you know, your shipping, you got your Amazon Prime like content, which Marvelous Miss Maisel, I watched that like 6 months ago and that was amazing.
The Tick
is
awesome. I think they did a great job.
Yeah, I thought they did an amazing job. It's a little bit of a different tone, but
it's
the best thing
darker.
The best thing is that the world is dark, but the Tick is still the Tick. He is 100%.
That's my favorite incarnation outside of the 90s cartoon. I like it better than the comic book.
I don't know. I did like the last. There was the show
like
came out in the early 2000s.
I talking about the Patrick Warburton
yeah.
one. Yeah,
that one was pretty good, but I like this one better.
I like them both, but for different reasons. Like the Patrick Warburton was just over the top goofy, but this one is.
Yeah.
This one's. The world is super, super dark, but...
The only thing that disappointed me was there was a minute where they were kind of teasing, is the Tick just a part of Arthur's imagination?
They still kind of do that, but...
Only a little bit, and I thought that was one of the best elements of the show to start, was like, who is the Tick? What is the Tick? And they still have the question is still out there, but they're just teasing it a little bit. So something genius might come out of it, but like I was really hoping the Tick, like they would play that out a little longer of like, is the Tick real? Like that would have been an incredible twist. But I enjoy the hell out of it. Like he's just nuts.
Yeah.
I love it.
He's just nuts. I like the episode where he thinks he's the robot, like him and the robot are like best friends.
What's his name? The guy who plays the robot. I can't remember. Wash from Firefly.
Oh yeah,
he plays the robot.
Alan Tudyk.
Oh, he plays the boat. Yeah,
he plays the boat.
Who's in love with the?
Yeah, he's in love with Arthur.
Yeah, he's in love with Arthur. The shower scene was so funny.
Yeah,
he's like, oh man. Arthur just comes out of the shower and he's like, not sure what happened there.
Oh my god. Yeah, highly recommend.
Yeah, I love that show.
Live action news for a possible... I thought they already remade The Little Mermaid, but there's this really crappy Little Mermaid movie coming out here soon. But I guess they are doing a live action Little Mermaid.
So there was a Little Mermaid movie that came out that had nothing to do with the Disney's Little Mermaid.
Oh. Yeah.
It was supposed to, like, the trailer made it almost look like a horror movie.
People were playing that off, though, that was the Disney one. And I was like, this is not making any sense.
No.
But Disney, I guess, is doing a Little Mermaid live action, and Lady Gaga is going to be Ursula. Supposedly.
Have you seen the trailer that just dropped this week for Aladdin?
Yes, that is actually one of the next ones on the list.
Right,
actually, here the Aladdin trailer. We can talk about that now. We can skip it. It's on my phone, so
okay, cool.
Doesn't matter what they.
Sorry, talking about Disney. We're just gonna continue.
Well, I was a little hesitant when like singers act. I've never seen Lady Gaga act in anything. So.
Actually, she's done a few things.
She good?
Now.
I haven't seen her. Anything.
So her first acting thing was American Horror Story.
Okay.
And she was the lead for that season, and she was excellent. And there was a movie that just came out that's actually in theaters right now called A Star Is Born, and she's the lead for that. And I've heard very good reviews for that.
Apparently, that is the third remake. The fourth film. They've just keep redoing A Star Is Born. Like, it's been going on since the 30s or 40s. They've kept remaking it, and now it's out.
And then she's also played a lot of like smaller parts and other things. But those are the two things I know that she's done lead for. But then she's also she's been acting for a few years now. That's what she's really been getting into.
There's actually a whole controversy a little bit ago because A Star Is Born came out the same weekend as Venom. That Lady Gaga fans were reviewing Venom poorly before it came out, so encourage more people to go see A Star Is Born.
Oh my god,
people! Yeah.
Have you seen Venom yet?
I have. Did you watch it?
So going into Venom, because of course it came out while I was at Comic-Con.
Okay.
Everybody kept going on about how horrible it was, so I went into it expecting one of the worst movies, and I liked it. Because I was expecting something horrible. Well, I think if I was going into it expecting something awesome, it would have been different. The complaints that I had heard, like the fact that they didn't make it an R-rated movie, is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Because they made it like, what is it, PG-13?
Yeah.
There's no blood. There's no, like, all of the gratuitous violence they like take off camera so you don't see it, so it's just implied.
Yeah.
Which for a Venom is weird.
I'd kind of mind it for the sequel though if they made a Carnage movie that was PG-13.
Carnage is the next movie.
They're saying they want it to be PG-13.
which
is really frustrating.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how they're going to pull off
Yeah.
carnage.
Right.
A point
like
that
rolling heads all over the place, cutting people into pieces.
There's no blood. They literally, even when they show body parts and something, there's like no blood.
A point that I saw in I was listening to one of the podcasts that really inspired me to do this is called Only Stupid Answers. They were reviewing it and they were talking about this idea that like what is Carnage going to have that Riot, the villain in this last movie, didn't have? Because the thing about Carnage is Carnage can make weapons. Mm-hmm. That's the difference between Venom and Carnage. Venom is strong, like he's a lot stronger physically, but Carnage can make weapons out of his hands and shit.
That's at least
which is what the bad guy in this movie did. So it's like, how are they going to make this work? Like, how's it going to work? I don't know.
It's got to make him as bloodthirsty as he was in the comic book, because he was...
that's because he's attached. Like, the difference between Venom being attached to Eddie, who is just, the only things he's got is, jealousy and just general pettiness, whereas Carnage is attached to a freaking serial killer. Mm-hmm. Like, not having the R rating, I have no idea how they're going to make that work.
He's obsessed with blood in the comic book.
Right. That's the whole point. And the fact that he's supposed to be the offspring. And also they show... The other thing that bothered me about the Venom movie was how the symbiote attaches to people. Instead of the original way of it being attached, they just pulled this whole... Oh, well, it isn't matching DNA, so it kept killing off people.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden it meets Eddie, and it just... Something about his DNA is fine. But then as soon as it meets Eddie, then it starts attaching to other people with no issues.
A dog.
Weird.
After, all of a sudden, all of the previous part of the story where it talks about, oh, it can't attach to anybody else because the DNA just doesn't match. It's like they forgot that part.
Yeah. Well, so I think the way that they can play that off is the sense that, that's maybe what the human interpretation was, but the truth was they were just eating through people. Because that was the other thing is, a lot of people were just getting eaten straight through, and they would, die because, they eat their organs from the inside.
Right.
And that's what Venom was doing to Eddie, was he was actually eating his organs at one point, and then him and Eddie, came to common ground for no reason at all. My problem with the movie is there's, a lot of plot points that get skipped or just passed over. This idea that, Venom out of nowhere was I like this place. It's kind of pretty. And Eddie's like, cut the bullshit. What made you really think like this? And he goes, you, Eddie. And I'm like, why? There's no reason.
That voice he came up with kind of reminds me of Tony Todd a little bit.
I did like, though, there was some really good points where they showed, how it felt with him fighting off Venom. How... him going crazy through it. I liked that show versus, for example, Spider-Man 3.
This is...
I'm evil now. What's evil? Jazz? Jazz is evil, right?
I've got a symbiote in me.
I feel like if you go into Venom not questioning everything and just go in thinking, whatever, it's just an entertainment, you'll like it. I enjoyed it for what it was.
I do want to see it. I haven't seen it yet, but I don't really want to pay full price to watch it.
I only paid $5, I think.
Here's my beef with the movie. And why I will say it is not a good movie and it is not a bad movie, ironically, because it has really good things and really bad things in it. There is no mediocrity in this movie, but it has two extremes, which then makes it mediocrity, which doesn't make any sense to me. It gives me a big headache. Here's my biggest beef, right? The whole arc that starts the action. The boss calls in Eddie and he's like, yo, I'm this guy from This Is Us. And Eddie's like, what's up, boss? And he's like, hey, Eddie, I want you to do this piece. And Eddie's like, okay, what do you want me to do? He's like, I want you to interview this possibly evil billionaire, but I only want you to talk to him about the rockets. And Eddie's like, I don't know, boss. You know I'm the most antagonistic reporter on your staff. You know that. Everyone knows that. That's why I'm famous for being an antagonistic reporter. And he's like, nah, Eddie, I want you to do it. I want you to only talk to him about the rockets or you'll be fired. And Eddie's like, I'm not going to say yes. He's like, get out of my office, Eddie. And then On the other extreme of things, his girlfriend is one of the defending lawyers for the evil billionaire who murders people. Okay? It is shown in the movie that they have evidence that proves he murders people. So she knows that he's a murderer and she's defending him. And she's like, well, it's really my firm is defending him. It's like, no, bitch, you're defending him. So this makes her a bad person. And then she's equally, as bad as she is, she's equally as stupid because they have Eddie and her have a full conversation where they're like, hey, my boss wants me to interview this guy that you happen to be defending that is also an evil billionaire that murders people. And she's like, again, it's just my firm. She's like, yeah, okay, whatever. And so they have this whole conversation. She knows he's about to do this interview. She even asked him, like, are you going to do that thing that you do where you do whatever you want? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, you know you got fired in New York. Spider-Man reference. And he's like, yeah, I know. But I'm still going to be Eddie Brock because I'm Eddie Brock. I do what's right, but I do it because I'm an asshole. And so what does she do? She leaves her computer right next to him. Her work computer full of all the evidence. Like, I'm going to bed. That was dumb. That was real dumb. That whole movie is based off of that once. And then, so what does he do? He goes in like a bull in a china shop. He's like, you're an evil billionaire. Fuck your rockets. And the guy is like, get out. I'm going to ruin your life. He gets fired. His girlfriend gets fired. His boss calls him an idiot. Even though his boss is the idiot. And everyone's like, oh, Eddie's such a loser. And then he has a conversation with his girlfriend later where she goes, you did this to yourself, Eddie.
The biggest thing that I saw people post...
Everyone in this movie is idiots except him.
No, he is too, to be perfectly honest. He's not much better.
Yeah, he's not, but...
The thing that I saw that I think really, really captured this movie is they really should have gone one of two ways. They should have either gone with the R rating, like mass violence, or they should have gone with the comedy. Like they touched on both aspects,
yeah, but
they didn't commit fully to either. They should have gone with one or the other. Like it could have been really funny or really violent.
I think
they tried writing the line in between, and it just.
Well, I think this movie would have been fine had they focused on Venom a little bit more and made him a fleshed out character, because Venom is just the butt of a bunch of really dumb jokes, and they're funny jokes, and they would work just fine had you also turned Venom into a real character, because he even says at one point, like, I'm a loser like you, but why, how, we don't know. Like, there's nothing about Venom. And Venom, the other problem is they make him know immediately. They make him know everything. If they had Venom trying to figure everything out,
that was my other thing where he was like, "I know everything about you, Eddie." And he's reading his mind to something, and then he goes, "So who's this girl?" And it's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, you can't just say I can read your mind, but I don't know who this person is that you're thinking about. Like your ex-fiance, who's she?"
She's like the most important part of your life 6 months ago. But who is that? Who is that?
Eddie? I can read your mind about everything else, but I can't read your mind about this one thing. That was weird.
Venom awkwardly has the hots for her too. At the end, he's like, "We're gonna win her back," and I'm like, "Don't get rid of her. She's a bad person." It was dumb. It was super dumb. So here's my thought. Right. Let's rewrite this movie a little bit, okay? Let's just take a second, okay? Let's go back. Instead of Eddie being brought in by his boss to put his most antagonistic reporter on there, how about Eddie is there while the boss is sending some schmuck out to do it? And Eddie says, hey, man, that was my cousin. I don't know what she's doing right now. You just say, hey, man, I should do this. I'm Eddie Brock. I'm your most famous reporter. He's like, yeah, but Eddie, you're an asshole. And we all know, you've been fired from New York for doing this. I just want them to talk about rockets. He'd be like, I will. I'll just talk to him about the rockets. And he's like, no, Eddie, I don't know. And he's like, oh, come on, man. He's like, all right, I'll trust you this one time. That right there would make Eddie like so much more, like you would see more of like the growth and the arc he would need to go through to redeem himself, and then make the girlfriend the prosecuting lawyer. So then he has a conversation and she's like, hey, how about like, and he's like, hey, how about I bring up these facts in this interview? And she says, no, you can't do that because then it'll mess up the case where we're trying to prosecute this person. So that makes her a good person. And that makes that moment where she says, you did this to yourself, Eddie. Then it would mean something. Like, he would have done it to himself. But it was just a lot of stupid people being really stupid at one time. And it's just like, you all deserve each other. Like
the fact that it also pulled the 6 months later and he goes up to see her and she's already got another guy living with her. The girl I was at the theater with immediately, like, the guy has a key to her apartment and she goes, bullshit moves too fast. And I was like, what the hell? Like, she started yelling at the screen.
So my problem with that being too is like the doctor was really stupid.
Yeah,
like,
he was.
Somehow he tranquilized Eddie in the lobster tank, and then him and Anne carried heavy ass, because I'm sure Tom Hardy is not a light person. That man is 90% muscle. Like, they had to carry his ass and took his clothes off, by the way, and slung him in an MRI machine. And he's like, where am I? And they're like, I had to sedate you. We've got you in an MRI machine, and shoved him in here. I came up with a better rewrite for that. Okay? Hashtag pride. Okay? She's not dating the doctor. She's dating Jenny Slate's character, who is the character who, like, she's like, I feel bad, so I'm going to go be a whistleblower. Mm-hmm. How about those two date? She's a prosecuting lawyer, and she's gaining evidence from her. Makes so much more fucking sense. Every time Jenny Slate is put in danger at that point, then you actually care about Jenny Slate because you care about Eddie's ex-fiance. And then she can be the one who sticks him in an MRI machine because she knows something about the symbiotes. Not some dumbass doctor that's like, let's put you in an MRI machine, see what happens. Like, he's going crazy. Let's put him in an MRI machine. Also, I found out, like, apparently MRI machines have nothing to do with sound.
No, they don't.
So there's absolutely no reason.
I have no idea why. It was a weird... None of that made sense.
They're just hoping that nobody knows.
Or they didn't notice, which is the most frustrating thing, and that's the worst. Also, the bad guy looked horrible. Like, Riot looked terrible.
Yeah, who cares about Riot? I mean, I don't know why. I do know why, but they should have just had Carnage as the villain in the first movie, I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. If I rewrote that movie, I think that would make that movie, like, damn near, like, just so much better. Just so much better. It's just little stupid things that bogged this movie down. In my opinion, just a lot of stupid, like, things that didn't make sense. That doctor made no sense. That girlfriend was a bad person, and that boss was an idiot. Like, there's a point where the boss goes, Eddie, you know, for being such a smart guy, you're a dumbass. And I'm like, you're the idiot! You knew what was gonna happen! Like, everyone knew! Everyone knew exactly what he was gonna do! Even the girlfriend, like, immediately says, you're gonna do this, aren't you? And he says, yep.
I also, like, there was so many little things in the movie. There was also the, like, when he starts yelling at, or he's in the store, and the lady is telling him, it's like, are you doing yoga? And he goes, I would be doing yoga if I could understand your cousin. It's all in Mandarin. And then he goes home and he puts in the yoga seat or disc, and it's not in Mandarin.
Yeah, it's in English.
And I was like...
And he does the yoga.
What?
He tries.
Didn't you just bitch about how it was completely in Mandarin?
Well, first of all, too, another thing is, like, supposedly he's doing yoga, and he sits down and he meditates. Like, he doesn't do yoga at all. He crosses his leg, and he starts to meditate. And it's like...
That's what yoga is to him?
Yeah, it's apparently. Like, do you not know what yoga is? Like, yoga is a completely different thing.
Yeah, there was so many little things in the movie that were like...
It's bogged down by dumb writing. Like, they were dumb writers. Because the performances were great. I mean, even the fiance was a good boss. They hired the guy from This Is Us and Luke Cage. Like, the best actor, like, on both of those shows. They hired that guy to play the dumbest character, the boss. Like, that's what made me so mad. Was I was like, this guy is worth way more than this. Like, Tom Hardy was able to sell all of his. He played both Venom and Eddie Brock, and he sold it. Like,
yeah, he did.
He killed it in that role.
The thing that really saved the movie from all of the things that we're bitching about is the Venom attaching and him going crazy while he's trying to figure out what the hell's happening to him. That whole sequence.
Where he's on the bus. Like, one of my favorite parts is when he's on the bus. And he's like, I'm just going to sit here and balance. And then the bus stops. He's like, all right, I'm going to leave. And, like, all these people are, like, in the background, like, what is up with this dude?
Yeah, him going crazy and the way they show that he's going crazy while the symbiote's attaching, it saved, like, it was perfect. It was 100% like what it should have been.
And those were like, they even said, like, those were improvised by Tom Hardy. Like,
oh, was it?
Yeah, that was that they cut out about, like, I think they said 45 minutes of the movie that was Tom Hardy improvising the whole time. And he said that was the most fun. And he said, like, those scenes where he goes nuts, that's him. Like, he jumped in that lobster tank. Nobody told him to do that. Like, he was like, I'm gonna jump in this lobster tank. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was genius. They really showed him losing his mind, which it was accurate. If you know anything about the Venom universe.
The design work was really well done too. Like, they did a good job designing Venom.
I will say the fight between the two symbiotes had some really, really great graphics to it. The part where they hit each other and the symbiotes are pulling away from the body was just this gorgeous moment where they pull off and the camera literally just stops on them and you can see both humans and symbiotes pulled off, and it's just I was surprised that I hadn't already seen that image.
It was like a comic cover.
It was exactly like a comic cover, and it was gorgeous, and seriously, that could be a piece of artwork in, like, a house. It was really, really nicely done, and that it's almost worth it just for that one still frame.
I mean, the whole movie, and that's what I say about, like, this movie had two extremes of, like, really good things and really bad things, and somehow they were able to meld that into the most mediocre movie. Like, because there's, like, nobody has anything, like, they're not like, this is, every review I've ever heard is, this is an okay movie. I've never heard anyone say this is an amazing movie. I've never heard anyone say this is a horrible movie. I've seen critical reviews, and that's fine, whatever. But every, like, normal critic that I've ever, like, watched on YouTube, any review from anyone, it's just like, yeah, it was a movie that happened. Like, it wasn't bad. It wasn't great. Like,
I'm glad I saw it.
Yeah, and that's the most incredible thing about this movie is the fact that it can have such really bad shit and then really good stuff. Like, and somehow that makes it as mediocre as possible. Because, like, you can have other things. Like, I mean, if you look at, like, X-Men: The Last Stand, you know, like, that movie.
I gave up on X-Men so long ago.
There's so much bad in X-Men: Last Stand that it outweighs all the good in it. Because, like, I mean, you had Beast in there. That was the first time you guys see Beast in a movie, and that was
perfect.
Yeah, he's a perfect Beast. There was a whole bunch of really good stuff to this movie, and then but the stupid in that movie outweighed it, so everyone says the movie's terrible. Spider-Man 3, everyone wants to send me a message right now. Spider-Man 3 is a mix of, like, really good and bad stuff, and a lot of people re-review Spider-Man 3 and they're like, it's actually not that bad. Like, my personal opinion, bonus round, if I want to rewrite Spider-Man 3, you just cut all the dance sequences and then you just double over Topher Grace's voice whenever he's Venom, like when he has the actual Venom mask on, because there's a point where he is full Venom mask walking at the Sandman and he's like, we're gonna get Peter Parker. It was just throw over, like, that Eddie Brock, like, the symbiote, like the Tom Hardy, like you throw that over top of it, 100%. Like, you're in it. You're in it to, like, that movie would have been way better had they fixed just those two small things. No dance sequences, which is a quick edit, actually. Just cut it right out. Oh, dance sequence is gone. What's going on with Peter Parker? Doesn't matter. He's off dancing somewhere. We don't need to see it.
So what else do we have on the list?
Okay, we're going to talk about the first look at Aladdin. This was, I don't know. I can't tell. They spotted in on the Cave of Wonders, which was really exciting to me because the Cave of Wonders is actually my favorite part of the movie when the sand tiger is talking. It was really, really cool.
And of course, it's a teaser trailer. Like, there's not much to it, but Aladdin was always one of my favorite Disney movies, so I was super excited to see this.
Well, the man directing it is Guy Ritchie, who did the Sherlocks with Robert Downey Jr. He just did probably the worst reviewed one he did was King Arthur.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, most people were either it was terrible or it was okay. No Merlin. But Guy Ritchie's he's very stylistic. He did let's see if I don't think the Cave of Wonders, there's a point where the mouth closes right here. Other than that.
Well, they also showed the treasure inside.
I want to see him talk. I want to see him talk.
They don't show it. Not in this.
I'm hoping in the
voice
movie
from Inspector Gadget because it's
yeah, that's the exact voice, isn't it? Cave of Wonders! Do not take anything other than the lamp!
I'm also excited really hardcore about the casting of this. I think they did a really good job of making sure that they got actors that not only are experienced, but also fit the demographic.
People are pretty pissed about Jasmine, but I'm fine with it.
So
I haven't heard anything about it.
She's not Arab. I think she's closer to Asian, and they're pissed.
Let me check.
They're like, she's not Arab. I'm like, I don't know. You'll have to see. First of all, Agrabah is not a real place. The theory is that Aladdin is actually set thousands of years in the future, and the reason why they say that, I think, is actually wrong. I think they missed the point. They say that the genie's references are also dated, that maybe he was put in the lamp in a regular time period. However, I think that the reason why the genie has all those references is because he has phenomenal cosmic powers. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's something they say. He doesn't have to have time travel. He can understand references. He could actually even be breaking the fourth wall a little bit. If you think about it,
take off his mask and Deadpool.
Because he has the phenomenal cosmic powers, he can look through time.
Okay, so she's British. Her mother was a Uganda-born Indian who immigrated to England at a young age. Her father is English, so she is half Indian, half English, half British.
People are not happy. She was in the Power Rangers.
Yes,
she did an okay job. First representation of LGBTQ supposedly in superhero movies is what they said, but it was only a slight. She was I'm not like other
Well,
I don't know.
Here's one of the things that I'm liking about seeing more and more characters that are LGBT that they don't go full on scenes. They don't have to show scenes. Is the more that it's normalized, the more that they mention to just make comments where they're just like, oh yeah, I'm not straight or something like that. They don't have to show a full scene or something like that.
Yeah.
But it should be a normalized thing. It should be it's perfectly acceptable for a character to be gay and not.
I think they could have.
That doesn't have to be their character. That doesn't.
I think they could have pushed
point.
it a little bit at one point though, because she just does a half reference where she's like, I'm not like other kids.
Yeah.
Where she could have just straight up and said yeah, I'm gay. It's hard, and then that'd be it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the way they played it was short and sweet like that. However, they just didn't. It almost was a cop out because it was right on the line, and then it was gone.
Some of the things I liked about the Batman and Superman cartoons. The Superman cartoon had I can't remember her name, the female cop. She was gay. They never addressed it. They never said anything about it. She was just a badass cop, and occasionally she'd have her girlfriend beside her.
Oh.
They never really addressed it. I thought that was that's pretty good effort at normalizing the.
In the CW series now, that's pretty it's pretty common. Captain Singh in The Flash is he's gay. Not a bit. He just talks about his husband from time to time. Mm-hmm. I think actually at one point his husband left him. Mr. Terrific had a full on relationship for a while, and then that fell apart, and he's gay in there, and that's it's just normalized.
Yeah.
Like you said, and sometimes it's a bigger part in the fact that it's people dealing with relationships, but sometimes it's just just in case you didn't know, doesn't matter, but there it is, a normal thing.
Did you see the movie Atomic Blonde?
No.
So there's a scene in it where she hooks up with a female, and apparently the script originally had her hooking up with a male, and she actually looked at the director and she's like, can we change this and just make her queer? Just because? She's She's like, I feel like this character is more queer than she is straight. The director was like, sure, why not? And so, like, it wasn't a plot point. It was just a random, they threw it in there. And it was just hi, we're just going to do this because reasons.
Yeah.
I just feel like this character's more queer than, and just the fact the director was like, sure, why not? Doesn't have any impact on anything else. But it gives more visibility to that community, which I think is great.
Yeah.
Black Widow movie is gonna happen. They've actually
Finally.
So Scarlett Johansson is
I don't know
getting
how I feel
paid
about that.
$15 million for it, so they've definitely put down the money.
Why do you not feel that way? Or not?
Because she's already been an established character in all of the Avenger films from here on out. I would rather them see them put that money towards adding another female superheroes. We already have Captain Marvel coming up.
Yeah.
But there's so many other female heroes that we could be
She-Hulk. She-Hulk would be really cool. Spider-Woman.
Spider-Man would be good.
Yeah.
Spider-Gwen. There's so many out there.
There's straight up Spider-Woman who
Yep.
they have a really good like arc with her in Secret Avengers, Secret Wars, which they're laying the groundwork for already with Captain Marvel and the Skrulls. The Skrulls, like Spider-Woman, yeah, they have a really cool. Well, actually, she might be better to flesh out a little bit later because, like, spoilers for the comics, but you find out like that the Spider-Woman was taken. And she was replaced by the Queen, and because she was so small and minor of a person that nobody paid attention to her, so then when she is brought back, she finds out about this, and she has to deal with the idea that aliens had deemed her through her relationships with everyone so pointless and so invisible to people that they chose her for the Queen. So then she has to come to terms with the fact that people find her inconsequential and small, and that's her be a great arc to reveal, like a really good one.
I feel like because Scarlett Johansson is such a she's currently the highest paid actress in Hollywood. I would like to see more women in the industry, or even more characters, more without having to repeat what we already have.
That makes sense. Well, and the fact that Avengers 4, which we can actually move on to that title. Avengers 4 is the title is going to be supposedly The Last Avenger. So everyone's talking about the Avengers like this is going to be the end for most of them, like Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., like they're going to be out. This is where they need to be laying the groundwork for new characters. They could be doing stuff like Squirrel Girl. That would be a cool one. And then laying the groundwork for the new Avengers and making that, because they're still putting focus into Spider-Man, into Captain Marvel. I think there's going to be more Thor movies. There's definitely one more Guardians of the Galaxy coming out with its own level of controversy behind
definitely.
it. But yeah, it does kind of seem like a bit of it's a little late in the game. Like, had they done this 5 years ago when they were in the middle of all this, it would have been a good idea.
But at this point now, I'd rather just see more. I would rather just see new characters.
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, it would be nice, and then they could be laying the groundwork for something better. They could be actually putting focus into characters who haven't had enough spotlight. Like, Elizabeth Olsen could do her, like, a little more with Scarlet Witch, and then maybe introduce more characters from that, and then grow it from there.
I will say, I'm so ready for X-Men to be moved into the Marvel Universe. I'm so ready for them to just give up. And I've heard actually that Marvel now has access to Fantastic Four.
I would like to see a Marvel Fantastic Four movie.
They actually had got after the fiasco that was the Fantastic Four last movie.
No, what happened is they actually, in this Disney-Fox merger, they bought both X-Men and Fantastic Four, along with a lot of other franchises, which are supposed to still survive.
They kind of bullied them into letting them buy it, but yeah. That's fine. I'm okay with the fact.
Well, I don't know if I had a bully shove $72 million in my billion in my face.
They stopped.
You can shove me in a
as soon as
locker.
that movie came out, they stopped making the comics.
Yeah.
Marvel dropped everything. They're like, we're not making anything new Fantastic Four. We're not doing anything until you're willing to sell to us. So it was kind of a.
I don't know, like,
even if yes, they got the money for it and all that, but it was.
If you look at it from Fox's side, though, they said that they wanted to start putting money into, like, what their most success is. And that's been, I mean, unfortunately, part of this $72 billion is going to go into Fox News.
Right.
And then $72 billion is also going to go into, like, their TV properties and stuff. The Simpsons, stuff like that. Like, Disney's not buying The Simpsons.
Right.
They're buying... But they are buying a lot of shit that, like, it's kind of scary to see what they're getting a hold of. Because, like, Alien and Predator, like, they're going to have that. But they did say, like Disney said, they're planning on holding Fox, like 21st Century Fox up as its own, like, entity. So then they can pass their rated R properties over to those things.
Kind of like they did with Marvel.
Yeah. And then with Marvel, they're going to, like Disney Marvel, they're going to absorb X-Men and Fantastic Four. And then Deadpool is like...
Somebody.
Wait, live on a Monday? Yeah, that's my sister. Hey! So X-Men, they're going to like absorb... They're going to absorb those things into the Disney Marvel. The only thing, like, they said they want to keep Deadpool rated R, like Kevin Feige said that.
Yeah.
We're going to have to see what happens. Because this
would not work if it wasn't rated R.
No.
So this is the biggest, like, this is the next step, because it started off like they didn't want to make any superhero film rated R ever. And then they were like, let's try this with Deadpool. They did it with Deadpool. It revolutionized everything. And this is where Sony's making the biggest mistake, and they're not following the trend. Because they're hoping they're going to be able to combine Venom with Spider-Man, like the Marvel Spider-Man franchise. They want to keep Venom PG-13. And this is where Marvel, Sony, and everyone needs to get on the same page. It is okay to have rated R characters cross into a PG-13 universe. Like, I don't know why that's a hang-up.
Right.
Like, I would be fine if Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool showed up in a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
And he acted PG-13, that's fine. I would be totally fine with that.
With Deadpool, he could even like look at the screen and look at you and go, can't say that because it's a PG-13 movie.
Yeah, like that's exactly...
He
could pull it off. Same thing with Venom. Venom could be PG-13 in a PG-13 movie and then go back into his rated R movie. Case in point, biggest evidence, Logan.
Yep.
Wolverine still holds up just fine in every other PG-13 X-Men movie there's ever been.
Yep.
But then they have the rated R Logan. You have to be able to cross back and forth beyond those territories and understand that that's okay. And that's the next step. And that's what I hope that they're going to pull off okay with this Disney-Fox merger, is they're going to keep Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool at a rated R level, but bring him into PG-13 movies sometimes. They could even do... this is actually, and I gotta tell my sister about this. I binged out The Good Place last night. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah.
So,
have you seen the newest episodes too?
No, I just started season 2. I binged out season 1 last night. I knew how it was gonna end. It gets better
and better.
But
it just keeps getting better.
There's every time they try to cuss, they say something ridiculous.
She's like,
"What the fork?" How hilarious would it be if Deadpool stepped into Disney Marvel and he's like, "What the fork?"
Dude.
And then he's like, "Why can't I fork and say fork? Ah, fork!"
So one of my best friends introduced me to The Good Place last year, and Devin and I got hooked on it. And she works New York Comic Con with me, and she found a booth that was selling pins. Little collectible pin things. And she had What the Fork pins. And into season 2, one of the ways that he starts torturing her is he like makes her wear this sash that says best person.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So she bought a bunch of best person pins to give out as gifts. So she had like What the Fork and best person pins, and I was like, why did you not get these for me? I want these pins so bad now.
That's pretty intelligent. Yeah, I dig that. That's funny. Yeah, so my sister's she's the one who's been telling me like forever, because I watched the first 2 episodes and I was like, yeah, I really like it. I'll come back to it at some point.
It just
and then I just
better,
never did. And then last night I was like, I'm going to do this. And I started watching it because we got home. My wife and I got home last night. I got home from work. She got home from like helping clean up the Grange camp for the Halloween party. And we like...
Have you seen the show, by the way?
I have not.
So the premise of the show is this girl wakes up, like is sitting on a couch. She looks up and all the wall in front of her is, what does it say? Like, everything is fine?
Yeah, everything's okay.
Everything is fine. And somebody calls her into an office and he's like, welcome to the good place. You have died because you were a great person. You are in the good place. You are safe. Everything is wonderful. You've done all these wonderful things in your life. Like, he talks about all these like missions that she did, like rescues that she did, like all these charity works that she did and all that. And takes her to a new house and meets her soulmate and all of these things. And like near the end of the episode, you realize that she's like, yeah, I don't belong here.
I'm not a good person.
I'm not that person he thinks I am.
Yeah, I'm not.
That's my name.
She's like, yeah.
But that's not who I am. She was a horrible, horrible human being on Earth. And everybody's talking to her like she was this like missionary for a living. And she was like, no,
and
I was a shitty person.
And her existence in that world throws everything into chaos.
So everything she does, like throws the good place into chaos. And so she's like trying to fake being a good person, and then she's trying to like become a better person so that she could belong in the good place. And she keeps everything up.
Yeah,
but she keeps trying to swear, and like because it's the good place and she can't swear, it's like every time she's like, what the fuck? And she keeps going, what the fork? And then she gets pissed off that she can't swear.
Yeah, and her soulmate
is an ethics professor.
So he's trying to teach her ethics, and it's really funny. I love when they throw him off every time. Like, so Heather's saying Janet is her favorite.
Janet is the best.
Janet's the AI sort of that gives them everything they need. So they'll be like, Janet, I need this, and she's like, I still like that. She falls in love with the one character, and he's like, "I love you, girl," and she's like, "Also not a girl."
Also not a girl.
She's like a robot. She's not even a robot. She's like, "I'm not a robot." She's like, "There's no way to describe me, really." And like I like the scene where she's like, "It's like, Janet, can you show a little emotion?" She goes, "Though I am not a human being, nor do I feel any sort of pain or emotion at all, I will do my best at crying." And she just goes, "Ah!"
Did you get to the point where they got to the medium place?
Yes,
So there's this part where they like escape the good place and they get to a different place, and it's called the medium place. Mm-hmm. And it's this woman who was like a horrible, horrible human being. But right before she died, she had like a vision of her life.
She donated her charity.
She donated her millions of dollars to this charity.
She was about to. She died, and then her sister found her plans and put it out there.
But anyway, so they decided, like, and her score came out to be a perfect 0, so she was put into a medium place by herself. And so they come to the medium place, and they're like, please, she keeps going, she's like, please tell me you brought cocaine. Please, I need some cocaine. She's like, so bored.
Do you have cocaine? Do you? You don't? Oh, because I don't need cocaine.
I don't need cocaine. I really need some cocaine.
She's like, I could use some cocaine. No,
she's like sex deprived and cocaine deprived, and like she's like constantly.
And then they're like they always they do like a intro video of what her life is like, what her life is going to be like, and they're like, we got your favorite beer. Like the lady from Heaven's like, we got your favorite beer, and the guy from so the lady from the good place, the guy from the bad place is like, but it's going to be lukewarm for the rest of your life. It's just random shit like that.
The Janet AI, there's a good Janet and there's a bad Janet. Like there's a bad place Janet, which is the exact same actress, but she's like, she just like swears.
Bad Janet. She shows up, she's on her phone, she's like, what?
And like they'll ask her to do something and she'll just like make fart noises and just be like, yeah, that's what you get. Like just go back to her phone.
So what's this on?
It's on NBC.
But you can, for season 1 and 2 is on Netflix and on Hulu, I think.
Yeah, so I'm binging out season 1 right now. Or
it's
season
great.
2. I've started season 2.
It's one of the best shows I've ever seen.
It is like surprisingly good. Like there's a good amount of lore. As Adam Scott plays the head of the the bad place.
Yeah.
There's a lot of quotations. There's the story is really, really good. It's worth a whole binge. But Adam Scott shows up and he is fantastic.
I do like Adam Scott.
I like when he just like looks at her. He's like, "So, this is gonna happen? We gonna hook up?" And she's like, "No." And the next morning, she like wakes up and he's talking in front of everybody and he goes, so we totally hooked up last night. And she goes, "We did not." And he goes, "Who are they gonna believe, me or a woman?" And she's just like really?
Oh no, he's not the head of the bad place. He's just a manager.
Oh, he's just a manager.
Who's the head of the bad? Because it's also another famous.
I haven't seen I haven't gotten that far, but
oh god, hold up.
I know. So like the main architect for the show is Ted Danson, and he's actually really funny in it. Like I can't remember. He says like he's like, "I've been working on my small talk." He's like, "Did you see the latest New York Times? Have you heard about Janet?" He'll just like say the random things, and then later on he like runs into the lady and he goes, "Oh, I wish I had time to talk because I got real good at small talk recently, but there's just no time."
Mark Evan Jackson.
Oh, okay.
Plays the head of the bad place.
It's such a good show. Like,
check it out.
Kristen Bell plays the main character.
Yeah.
The one who thinks that.
Okay.
Who isn't supposed to be there, but.
Maya Rudolph is in the new season. You should appreciate that. Oh yeah, Maya Rudolph is amazing. Maybe that means if Maya Rudolph's in there, maybe Kristen Wiig's around the corner if she hasn't already, because she's so good. I also like the guy that's like, "Can we bite people?" And they're like, "No, you cannot bite them." And he's like, "Okay." And then later on, they're like, "Any questions?" And he goes, "I think we should move to biting." Like, no. Then later, there's like a problem that happens, and he goes, "Should we?" They're like, no biting. Like, stop asking to bite people. Janet's.
There's
Janet.
one of the other main characters is like they introduce him and it's this Buddhist monk that's silent, that doesn't speak, and you find out like 2 episodes in that it was actually a drug dealer. And he's like this idiotic drug dealer from Florida.
DJ from Florida.
who had the same problem as the main character. He woke up and was told, "This is who you are," and he's like.
They're like, "Do you want to not talk
Do you
forever?"
Want to
and he just
your
goes.
He just goes. He was like.
So the whole time he's.
So he sets up like his own little private den, and he like keeps calling Janet for snacks and things like that, which is why he falls in love with Janet, because she gives him everything he wants.
Yeah, he's the one who marries Janet, and like he's like, "I love you, girl," and she's like, "Also not a girl."
Also not a girl.
They're like trying to figure out how to have sex, and they have stick figure drawings. They're like, "We're gonna try and figure out how to have sex."
They have like a whole list of pictures, like stick figure pictures that they're like, "We tried this one."
They come back later and they're like, "How's that going?" And he goes, "Still haven't figured it out yet. It's gonna take us years." Like, he goes, I love that. He's like, "How about we try this one?" And she's like, "Could work." And then like, there's one point where they have to leave, and he like runs up, takes the picture, and runs away. He is one of the best characters as well. Like, I really like him because I like how, because there's like a point where like, you know, they're like interviewing the 2 people who aren't supposed to be there to rate them like manually on what they're like on their good status. And he gives like the Kristen Bell, like, he gives her every question she passes. He's like, "Do you have a personalized license plate? Have you ever paid money for the Red Hot Chili Peppers?" And like, she's like, no. And then they like ask him the same question, and every answer is yes. He's like, and
he's so excited about it too.
Yeah, he's like, "Yo, dog,
it was a great concert. Yeah, I totally have this.
Best concert ever, bro." "Do you have a personalized license plate?" "Of course."
There's so many times where they're like, "You have no idea what is happening right now, do you?" And he's like,
What?
He's just such an innocent character. Such an idiot.
I know. That's what like makes me the saddest, is like they want to damn him the most, and I'm like, he's the most innocent character there is. Like, he's the sweetest. He married Janet, for Christ's sake. That's the best. So when he's marrying Janet, and Chidi walks in because Chidi's the ethics professor, and they're like, also, he's marrying Janet, and he goes, wait, what? And it was just, every time they go back to that he's marrying Janet thing, like, Chidi's trying to figure out his own problem, and then he just keeps getting sent over back to the marrying Janet pact, and he's just like, wait, what? What? Because everyone else is on board with it. He's marrying Janet, except Chidi has no idea. He's dealing with his own shit. I love Chidi. He's great, too.
There's frozen yogurt places everywhere. Like, that's the big thing, is like frozen yogurt. So every single major, anytime they have a major problem or anything they're trying to figure out, they're always eating frozen yogurt.
Guys, you've got 3 flavors of frozen yogurt here. Which one are you going to pick? Like, and then I like that they always come up with like creative ways to like explain the flavor. They're like, what flavor is that? Full cell phone battery. It tastes like that moment when you have a full charged battery on your cell phone. And she goes, oh, I'm so relaxed now. Like, what's your favorite color? It's not really explainable, or it's not visible with human eye. Okay, can you describe it? When a soldier comes home from war and sees his dog for the first time and cuddles him. How about blue? Such a good show. If you haven't seen it, watch that one. So, okay. So I was going to talk about this. So Mark Ruffalo supposedly revealed the last title to The Last Avenger, but the way that this happened is really, really interesting. So Mark Ruffalo, what he's doing now is he's trying to convince celebrities to get together. And what they'll do is they'll give spoilers to their movies or something like that, something that people get really excited about, and they'll gather, and then they'll give away a few spoilers, but then they'll segue over to someone who has an actual cause and have them talk about their cause. So to give light and platform to people who wouldn't have a platform before. No. So what he did on Jimmy Fallon, I think, is he like gave away a bunch of spoilers, but the way they did it was, I'm sure everyone in the audience probably had the same experience, but they bleeped everything out that he said. But people who are lip readers got together and they're like, actually what he said was Avengers 4's title, because everyone's still wanting to know the title. I'm hoping they come out, they're just like, it's going to be called Avengers 4. Like, that's what I want, because there's so many people that are like, what are they calling it? He said it was a joke. Well, I don't know. People were like reading it. It says, he said that they read his lip, that it's called The Last Avenger, which would be interesting. It would be a little spoilery, because that means one person at one point might be the last person alive. I don't know. But I wanted to talk about it just to talk about how cool it was that like Mark Ruffalo is doing this thing to try and like shift light onto people's causes. I don't even remember what the cause was, because I was half watching at that time. I was like talking to my parents, but it's a super cool idea. Also, the new Aquaman costume has been revealed. Did you guys see that?
No.
It's yeah, I did.
This is a still of his reveal. Man. It looks legit. It's orange and it's got the old style, like, it's the only time they can make that work, I think, honestly, to have that happen. But yeah, that's pretty much the news for this week. Normally we have like a lot more, but we're meeting halfway through the week rather than doing like waiting till Wednesday, so we're not piling up as much news. And then I've also been James Wan FTW. What is it? Who is this here? The
Skull Kids?
Hey, well, welcome the Skull Kids. James Wan Fatir.
For the win.
For the win. Oh, yeah, for Aquaman. Hey, Skull Kids, yeah. Welcome to Just Another Nerdy Podcast. Yeah, no, he looks like he's having a lot of fun making this movie. They released a clip for it, like a full clip, and it really shows off the kind of the attitude and the style of these characters. One of the best parts being like, I like, like in the clip, she's they're in this like Temple of Doom style setting in the Sahara Desert, and they have like this key that kind of unlocks this thing, and they can't get it to work, and they're like, oh, we need to put water on this to make it work. And so she like does her like aqua magic and gets it to like drop on the thing, and then it pops up the thing of the king, and then it flashes to Aquaman, and he's like, "Oh, cool! I could have just peed on it though," like, which is the perfect example of how much of a dude bro Aquaman is. Like that sells it for me. I'm pretty pumped. But yeah, that's kind of that's the nerdy news for this week, and I think that's most of what I've been up to. I haven't watched the newest Doctor Who, and then the one thing that I did miss out on that I think I'm going to try and watch and review for next week is the new Charmed. Have you guys...
Oh, I heard it was so bad.
So
was it?
We had it at
It
Comic-Con.
looked really bad.
It was a very popular panel. I know people were very excited about it. I don't know anything, though, about how the panel went, because that wasn't at my stage.
I saw the trailer for it. It just looked really bad.
I'll be honest, that's kind of how I felt. I didn't think it looked...
But
even the acting.
do you guys remember...
Just...
Do you guys remember Charmed? Like, really, really
it wasn't
remember
good.
like,
but, yeah.
It was kind of... It was one of those shows that, like, started off really cheesy and got better, and then, like, turned out to be... But...
Sort of grew into its own camp.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll admit, I'm having the same thing with Supernatural now, that we've been watching it, and I'm like, I like it, but I don't understand the fascination. I don't understand the obsession.
I think the humor behind it, because, like, here's the thing, though.
It's not that humorous. Like, it's a little bit, but...
I watch it at this point, though, because I've watched it for so long. Like,
it's
I can't...
14 seasons.
I can't not watch the next season, because if I give up, like, what have I been doing for 14 seasons? Like, it's not... It's gotten... So it dips. It dips, and it goes down, and it comes back up, and then
We're
it goes down,
6
and it comes
seasons
back up.
in, and I'm liking it, but I'm not obsessed with it. Like Buffy, I got obsessed with at certain points.
You're coming to a hard dip. Like, season 9 is the worst. When they get to the Leviathans, this is the most bullshit I've ever seen.
Is it going to be a point where we're just going to, like, quit on it?
I don't know. Like I said, I just keep watching because I've watched this long and watched this far. Like, So when I started, there was about 5 seasons, and those are the best seasons. The first 5 seasons are the best.
Of Supernatural?
Yeah.
Because the first season sucked. The first season was awful.
I enjoyed the first season the most because of the fact that it had that Monster of the Week vibe. And I miss that. The
characters were just they just took forever to do it. Like,
but here's the thing, right?
Yeah, it was the Monster of the Week, but it was just...
So here's the thing, right?
So hard.
They get to a certain point, though, where, like, all they are now is Sam, Dean, Sam, Dean.
Oh my god.
They've
been that way since the beginning.
I'm not kidding. It gets so fucking bad at one point because they're always worried about each other dying. And it pisses me off the entire time. So, Sam, Dean. They're always, and they all die, and then they come back, and then they die, and they come back, and they die, and they come back. Like, I'm waiting for the season where, like Sam dies. Here's what I think they ought to do. This would actually be really interesting. They kill off Sam for an entire season. And Dean just keeps saying the entire season. Which show is this?
Supernatural.
We're talking about Supernatural now.
Which is what I've been binge watching lately.
Sounds like I shouldn't even get into it.
So here's the thing about Supernatural. There are certain things about Supernatural that are awesome. The one thing that I do really like about Supernatural is its fans are obsessive. And that's why I started watching. Like, they're obsessive. And the show comments to it. So, for example, there is a character in the show that writes books called Supernatural. It's a series called Supernatural about the characters. And what ends up happening is he is a prophet. He is a prophet who's getting visions from the Lord of what's going to happen and is writing these books. And there's fans. Like, at one point, Sam and Dean, like, pull up the online web, or they pull up the web, and they find out that there's people writing fanfic about them dating each other, and they're like, I know we're brothers, right? And they're like, this is gross, because that actually exists. Because there's actually fans out there that have been writing that. So the show made a shout out, making fun of the fans that are doing, like,
Did you get to the Comic-Con convention?
No, I've heard though. I have heard that there's a Sam Dean lookalike contest.
Yeah, there's a Sam Dean
that
Comic-Con
they try to go
convention.
into and they don't win.
Oh yeah, because they come in and they're like, "Who are you?" They're like, "Sam and Dean Winchester." They're like, "No, really, who are you? What's your real names?" And they're like, "Sam and Dean Winchester." They're like, "You look nothing like Sam and Dean." And I'm like,
yeah, I've heard that's a thing. I haven't gotten that far
and then
yet.
they have even better. So coming down the road, even better is the Sam and Dean, or is the Supernatural High School Musical.
What?
Oh yeah, there's an episode with that, and it's even better because they have the teenage girls go, well, we kind of retconned it a little bit, and now Sam and Dean are girlfriends. Or no, so they're having girls play Sam and Dean, like so they're playing drag as Sam and Dean, and then those Sam and Dean have a relationship. And Dean's going, shut this down now. Like,
so
he hates it.
I loved, there was an episode where the prophet, so the author of these books, reaches out to one of his fans who, like, the fan's freaking out. It's like, oh my god, I'm your biggest fan. And he's like, yeah, I know. So I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go find Sam and Dean. And she was like, okay, I'm not an idiot. I know these books aren't real. And he's like, okay, I'm going to tell you something. The books are real. And she's like, I knew it. And so he sends her with his mission, or because like he can't contact them himself. So he sends her to go send this message of here's what's about to happen. I had this vision. And she shows up and she just walks up to Sam and she starts feeling his chest. And he's like, have you stopped touching me? And she goes, no.
No. I mean, Chuck is the prophet of the Lord. Like, that's the character Chuck. Chuck comes back.
I was gonna say he's been a regular character still. He hasn't.
He takes a good probably 5, maybe 6 season break.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, so you haven't even gotten to it. You haven't even gotten to the part. Oh my god.
Yeah, like we're I think at the end of season 5. Like we're starting season 6.
when you find out there's a thing that happens at the end with Chuck that you're like, wait, what? And they don't address it for 5 seasons.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
That pisses me off. In fact,
like 20 episodes.
Actually,
per season.
if you.
It's an hour-long show.
If I'm reflecting
it's an
back,
hour-long show. There's 14 seasons and there's over 20 episodes per season.
Reflecting back, that is 90% of why I drove through so hard. Was I was like, you have to fucking address this thing with Chuck. Like, I was so pissed, and then they finally did it. And now I'm at that point where I'm just going because I've been going for so long that I can't not keep going.
I gotta admit, I really have to watch till the Comic-Con episode.
The Comic-Con episode and the musical episodes are the best.
But, considering that Comic-Con is what I do for a living, I've got to see this. I have to see this. I keep meaning to... Did you know Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk did a show about working cons?
Oh, yeah.
Called Con Men?
We had our name. We were going to have our names in that because we paid for that, but then we forgot to. So we don't have our names in that.
Oh.
I almost had them... it was right after, we had the proposal and everything, but for I don't know, so many thousands of dollars, we could have Nathan Fillion say whatever we want. So that would have been perfect for a proposal, to have Nathan Fillion propose.
Oh my god,
it's not a bad idea, really.
I've worked with both of them, and they're both great people and all that. But it was hilarious, knowing that they were about to do a show based on.
That was, I remember reading that a while back because people were super excited about those two getting back together on something, on a project.
And it was their own project that they were working on. It was really, I still have to watch it.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
It got massive support immediately because people were like, yes! Of all the people, those are some of the best people to kind of get in there. I'm pumped about, But no, Supernatural, the only reason why I've been watching it for so long is because it's so...
It's just because
it's been on so long. It's just been something that I've done for so long. I've naturally... So I was going to do the same thing with all the other CW stuff, like Flash, Arrow, all that shit. And maybe I'll come back around. But at this point, I'm naturally falling away from it because it's so much. It's such a burden to like try and watch all of that. Like I can sit down and watch Supernatural and be like, at least I'm just watching Supernatural. Like once you're done with those 20 episodes for a season, you're done. But like The Flash, Arrow,
I'm
it's
so behind
much.
on all of those shows because I've got such a busy lifestyle. I don't have time to watch shows most of the time, so I haven't seen a lot of those.
Well, that's why I remember people my age now looking back at me when I was younger and binging all that shit and being like, what do you do? Like, how do you have time? And I'm like, I just do. And now I'm like, what do you do? How do you have time to like do all that? Like, I don't like.
I put on shows like while I'm cleaning and stuff like that and use them as background. But the show I've been binging lately, American Horror Story, specifically Freak Show, because the first time I tried watching it, it was so bad I couldn't watch it. And then Devin recently told me that a friend of his was in that season, and he's apparently in multiple episodes of that season. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, I didn't get that far into it.
Someone says I already missed the originals.
Yeah, that was one of the. Was that a Vampire Diaries spinoff? I think.
I don't know. I haven't seen
it. So I watched the first couple seasons of Vampire Diaries and I stopped because I got so mad popular at some of the characters.
I haven't watched it, but man, they were.
This character
popular.
Bonnie, and I was like, there's one point where Bonnie falls in a hole, and I'm like, you're damn right, Bonnie fell in a hole. She's stupid. Like she finds out like that her grandma was a witch, so she's like, I'm a witch, and so then she slowly learns how to be like taking forever to learn how to be a witch, and I'm like, you suck. Be a witch.
Wait, you like Freak Show, but you didn't like Coven? Oh no, come on.
Yes, but
Freak Show
better
was
than
awful.
That. Okay.
Coven was much better than Freak Show.
I never
Freak
watched.
Show was awful. I know I'm watching it right now. I'm specifically watching it, trying to figure out what episode this girl is in, and I'm near the end, and I still haven't seen her. So I'm starting to think that Devin's just made it up. But when I look it up online, sure enough, it says online that she's in it. It just never says what episode she's in.
The originals actors were better than the Vampire Diaries actors. That's possible. I don't know. Like I said, though, I don't have enough time.
The Vampire Diaries, and then there was another show that was out around that time that was also just as popular. They had just rabid fans.
Yeah, CW's really got that going. The only thing that I haven't... the one thing that I'm like absolutely avidly against now is Riverdale. Just because I tried. I really tried. I gave them a shot. Yeah, no, not that great.
I think I had them on my stage.
Having 25-year-old actors playing high school kids that are cut for days, and they're trying to like have this thing where they're like, comics. He slept with a teacher, and it's like, yeah, he's probably older than that teacher for real. Like he is like
the fact that it's like,
and he's like they're like, where'd you get all that muscle from? And he's like, I worked a construction job over summer. And I'm like, okay. That doesn't age you 5 years.
The fact that it's the Archie's comics, like the cheesy Archie comics, but with what, like murder and...
I heard they get
it's dark.
Like really dark Archies. Like that's really a weird concept.
I heard the comic books get real at some point, though.
They have a really interesting... Archie apparently, like they cross that comic over with a lot of other comic books and properties. A lot.
The person that's actually been drawing it for a few years also has a webcomic that I read.
Chris wants to know if you're watching the current American Horror Story.
Not the current. I don't have cable. I haven't had cable for 10
Ash
years.
vs. Evil Dead.
Oh yeah, and they canceled it.
Yeah, that was really good.
Wait, when did that get canceled?
Last year.
Yeah, it was like right after they finished the season.
Season 3.
Yeah, it was 3 seasons. I haven't put any time into it.
Yeah, they got pretty extreme with it. More than I thought they would.
Yeah.
Ash gets stuck in a cadaver's butt. And he just running around saying, I'm in the butt! I'm in the butt!
Oh, that was another joke from The Good Place, was the butthole. It's like, you want to hang in my butthole? Like, the what? Even my wife stopped last night. She goes, did he just say butthole? And then I'm like, just give it a second. And he's like, look, it's my butthole. And Grace was like, oh. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, I knew it was a joke they were lining up, but...
They say it's a big-ass cliffhanger. You're talking about Ash vs. the Evil Dead? Because, I don't know, I thought they kind of ended that the way they wanted to end it. But the original, what was it? Army of Darkness kind of ended as a cliffhanger, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I left off at Army of Darkness. I did not touch the new Evil Dead because that looked creepy as shit. The movie that they did, like there's a part where she like puts her tongue on the knife and splits it as she's on. And I was like, I'm out. I can't do that. What does that say? Oh, that's my bot. I want to help the stream for free. Oh, that's interesting. I was wondering why my bot hasn't kicked in for like ever. I think I got too many lines of chat or something like that. But yeah, we've got a bot on there that'll just kind of tell you. So yeah, feel free, guys. Follow on Twitter and all that. Feel free to hit us up there. But yeah,
Evil Dead 1 was actually pretty disturbing. Yeah, that's a very true statement.
I remember watching. This never happened again, but my wife and I watched Evil Dead 2, and so we started a joke about how like there was a every color of the rainbow in body fluid, except for blue. There was no blue, so we ended up watching Galaxy Quest after that, and like one of the aliens being blue, and we're like, no, we got the rainbow.
God, I haven't seen either of those in so long.
Galaxy Quest is one of my favorite movies ever. Yeah. Evil Dead like disturbed the shit out of me, but like also
Quest quite a bit.
Yeah, well, its commentary is really strong, and it was one of Tim Allen's better movies. Tim Allen had like a really good streak in about the 2000s, the early 2000s. He did that. He did. I can't even remember the title of the movie. He did this one. It had Zooey Deschanel in there. It was one of her first movies.
Joe Somebody.
No, I don't think it was Joe Somebody. Joe Somebody.
Oh, no, Zoe.
Ventura.
Oh, yeah, that's what I hate. Okay. So Zoe. What would that be?
That was like I can't remember it, and it had Patrick Warburton, and it was one of the first times I saw Patrick Warburton, and there's like the best scene because he's a cop, and they're in the back of the car, and they hit a goat, and it goes boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, I get that one and Joe Somebody mixed up. I can't remember.
And he just goes, "Is that a goat?"
Yeah.
As Patrick Warburton, the best. I want to help. My bot's kicking in really hard.
Apparently.
Yeah. Hit that follow button. Yeah, it's making up for lost time. What the hell, bot?
It's going to dominate the chat now.
This is the one Travis suggested to me. Way to go, Travis. Thanks for the bot. The really random bot that's like every 2... It's supposed to be every 5 lines and then every 10 minutes. And now it's every 2 lines. Every 2 seconds.
3 hours.
After forever streaming. It's just kind of random. Oh, you're looking it up right now.
Totally. So it was in the 90s?
It was Joe Somebody, and then like around the same time there was another similar
Joe
one.
Somebody. We're talking about Big Trouble?
Big Trouble!
Dude, I own that.
That's what
I haven't seen that in forever. I own that one.
I just discovered Twitch.
Johnny,
welcome to Twitch.
Wasn't Johnny Knoxville in that one?
Hit follow. There's a heart button up top. You gotta hit the follow. Also, we're on iTunes and YouTube.
I was going to say I have a YouTube account, but it's on my burlesque.
Just lost his Twitch virginity.
Lost.
Who's that?
The Skull Kids.
The Skull Kids. Skull Kids been here the whole time. Skull Kids, welcome. Thank you. No. What? Wait a minute. Heather's watching. What time is it? Because she's in Korea right now.
Is that your sister?
Yeah, it's like middle of the night for her, I think. My nephew, this is a great story. So my nephew, he one of the promo videos I did, which was actually the most popular promo video I made, which is annoying. But I got a cramp in the middle of the thing, and I was like, "Whoa!" And I kicked the camera. Everyone I've talked to has seen that video, and my nephew took a picture of the anguish in her face. He just squared it out, and he just kept spamming it on my messenger. So my sister was in Korea, and she did this almost 4 a.m. Wow. She took this picture, and he's going. And so I took that and I sent it to him, and he's like, "Nice try. You're gonna have to do better." So I put a mustache on him, like Senor Ethan agrees. And he goes, "You could do better." And my dad, so I don't know if you guys heard me talk about my dad, but he is what I call racially androgynous. He has dark skin and a mustache and curly hair, so people think he's Hispanic, they think he's Hawaiian, they think he's everything.
I get that too.
And he's German. He's just German. And so I put an afro on him with the mustache, and I was like, "Now you look like Papa." And he starts laughing. Oh, she's just up playing World of Warcraft.
Wait, Order Alliance. I'm gonna judge you now, depending.
She might have both, actually.
Actually, I'm not gonna judge. I have both, depending on which server I'm on.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure she has both because she's like, she was talking to Tom. Cause Tommy's like, "Oh, I need to join up," and she's like, "Oh, whatever you got, we'll make it work." Yeah, Skull Kids. Thank you for the follow. Thank you so much. That's our follow thing that happens.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
Right in front of my Mario.
Yep.
We have a setup. The huge shout out again to Alpha Gaming Channel. If you want to learn anything about Twitch, get on YouTube, check him out. But he designed all of the follow alerts and sub alerts and all the alerts that we use. The only thing he didn't design is if you host us, we have he has a Metroid one. I have Hypnotoad pops up and it's like so he didn't design that, but he designed everything else that this thing. He's actually the reason why the camera looks so good, like 100%. And apparently he was
Nightbot returns.
Nightbot attacks. He is famous from Vine. He's not just famous from Twitch. He's famous from Vine because him and his wife used to do like Vines together where they would sing. Have you ever seen that Vine? You guys watch Vines ever?
Used to back before they were.
So she's like, "I wish that I could," and they move their face up and they both turn into nerds and like, "Be like the cool kids," and they put their hands down, they turn back to normal, like, "Be like the cool kids." Like, that is one of his famous Vines. I didn't know he went to school for like guitar. He went to school for all this random crap. There's a squirrel just freaking out in my tree outside.
There's some cardinals.
I quite literally, it was a squirrel.
Dude, Nightbot is really going at it now.
Yep.
I know.
2 hours, nothing.
Now it's just dropping all the. Yeah, follow us on Twitter. You're supposed to pop up. I don't think that's working anymore. I have to go onto the website and look at that again. But yeah, you can follow us on Twitter and all that junk. Twitter will actually tell you when we're streaming too. Like, it pops up and says it. No one retweets it. Doesn't matter. You check us out on Twitter, Facebook, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Castbox. So it's like one of the adverts that we have is Dritz being like, I was like, you do the promo, and he's like, "I don't want to do the promo." I was like, "You do the promo," and he goes, "You follow us on Castbox, gives you fucking speed." Like, it's like, he was not happy about that. But yeah, you can follow us on all that stuff because we do it all the time.
It just keeps going.
It just keeps spamming my chat. Shut up, Nightbot. I tell you that Ethan is working he's working on Revenge so I did that, and then I started taking the full body cutout of him doing the thumbs up, and I was putting him at things that he hates. So I had him standing next to a bowl of mac and cheese. He hates mac and cheese. He used to throw up if you said mac and cheese in him. He'd
oh
like,
my God.
So he hates mac and cheese. I put him in a Katy Perry concert. I put him at the 50 Shades of Grey authors, like holding the book up, and he's standing next to her going. And then I put up a picture of him. What was the last one? There was like, I put up a picture of him. WWE. He's like in the WWE arena, and then the guy's holding up the belt because he hates like WWE. He's like, "It's so dumb, it's fake." There it goes. Again. There it goes. Spamming. It's spamming hard. Yep. But he's like, "It's so dumb and fake." So I put up a picture of him thumbs upping everything he hates, and my sister goes, "Why are you like what?" Just a quick question. What are you doing this time at night? Like, making my son laugh so hard in the middle of the night. And I sent her the pictures, and she started laughing. She's like, "That's pretty good." And he's in the background going, "It's everything I hate." So he sends me a message at 6:00 at night, my time. And he goes, "Sleep tight, because tomorrow I'm going to get my revenge." And my sister messages me the next morning. She goes, "I think you may have inadvertently taught my son Photoshop because I just hear him grumbling in his bedroom." He's just trying to figure it out. Like, I was like, I keep telling him, use the smart scissor tool. I said, and Google things if you don't understand it, because that's how you figure out Photoshop. Like, all of those photos that I did of us, that was smart scissor. And it's not incredible. Like, I didn't do an incredible job. I'm not here to do an amazing job. Like, this is, well, okay, the letters are Photoshop down here, and then those I just kind of put in there. But I do a little bit of Photoshopping. Then you sent me all those other photos, and I was like, I had to find, like, I want to find one that, like, actually, like, is croppable, because a lot of your photos are, like, there's a lot of heavy shading, or, like, you're in, like, a mid-action shot. I'm like, they're really cool, but that's going to take a level of skill that is beyond me.
Oh, for my shots?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. My shots are mostly, well, most of the shots for me are modeling photos for, like, Burlesque and Fire and stuff like that. So you want it to be things that, and so they don't usually edit out just me. They usually just do a block and then do a frame around it.
Yeah.
Hell, I can even pull up examples of flyers.
Would you recommend me to follow?
Who would you recommend me to follow? So you can go to my actual other page, JDeem, because I do stream on there. So JAYDIEHM.
I really need to get new glasses.
I gotta get. So that's mine, and then DIEHM. Did I do that right? I think so. And then there's Alpha Gaming Channel. Like, Harris Heller is his name. Harris. Here, let's. What happened? My keyboard just.
Keyboard's dying. There it goes.
Oh. Never mind. Meteor Matt, Pink Smurf, those are some of my favorites. Smokin' Dank 5280. He has a very specific stream. If you're not down with the weed, you shouldn't watch that. Because he smokes on camera and it's hilarious.
I know.
I think my battery's dying.
Twitch. Yep. Gen Con now has a Twitch stream. So we've got streaming that we do for the cons, but I think for Reed Pop shows we've been doing Sci-Fi Wire instead of Twitch.
You can do, like, I mean, there is so much incredible stuff on there.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite. Pink Smurf is really cool. She does everything. Oh, Zolthara. I love Zolthara. Though she's having a few problems right now. She's running into a few. I think that's right. Those are my links that I'll share. Check them out. They're all really good. A lot of really entertaining. It just depends on what you like to watch too. Like, everyone has different types of streams. Like, you can watch people who like do speed runs of, like, classic games. You can watch people actually do art. They art all the time. You can watch people make music. One of my favorite things to watch, because it's inadvertently funny. I got one. If you like D&D. Oh yes. I don't know if you can post that. But what was I saying? I like watching Guitar Hero. Because you never realize how ridiculous it is. Like, you don't know how ridiculous it is to watch someone play Guitar Hero until you watch them on Twitch, because it's like clack 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 clack. There's this one lady I was watching, and she's like doing hard mode, and it was just like clack 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 clack. And I was like, this is ironically hysterical. Like, I wanted to see someone.
Every party ever, like, remember when Guitar Hero first came out? Like, the very first one, and I remember house parties where we would have Guitar Hero set up, and everybody wanted to try it because it was the new thing, and it was like the funniest thing to watch. Everybody, like, in this tiny little guitar.
We had this planned at the college that I was at, the community college, where we would do a battle of the bands, right? So we got together and we're gonna have different people do Guitar Hero bands, and we get the full Guitar Hero set. What happened was not enough people signed up, and we had one kid with nails on a chalkboard voice singing the Beatles rock band for an hour and a half straight. It was the worst idea I've ever had. Like, because I was like, this is going to be great. And we were all like, yeah, you know.
Yeah,
like,
it's going to be tons of fun.
It's going to be tons of fun. We're going to do a battle of the bands. And then one kid, like, would not get off the goddamn microphone. And he was like, I can't. He was like, I want to hold your hand. And we're all like, oh, this was horrible. So I'm just sitting here eating a sub sandwich like this is a train wreck. Like, that's what happens when you put me in charge of the events committee planning. Okay. Well, I would say we're probably, because I think we're actually almost done with a 3-hour stream.
Yeah. The 3-hour mark.
Check the Master of Puppets challenge, but every time he says master, it's 10 times faster. I've seen stuff like that, actually. There's some really interesting... there's a cut of B-movie, and every time they say the word B, it doubles the speed of the movie. So it starts off as like a scene, and by the end it's like... done. Oh, yeah. Okay, Nightbot. Shut up, Nightbot.
Shut up. We don't care about you anymore.
My band talked about covering all of Master of Puppets, but the singer's going to, not me, but the other guys are going to do a Kermit impression the entire time. We're going to call it Master of Muppets.
Yes.
You should do that. That should happen today.
Yes.
Actually, that's your new assignment. That's okay, guys. I think this is going to be where we're going to close it. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't hit follow already, hit follow. Do us a favor, share this out with friends. Let people know that we exist. So go to our Facebook page, our Twitter page. Share us out. Let people know that we exist if you had a good time. We've got clips and stuff like that we're going to be sharing throughout the week. You can also follow us on iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, CastBox, Google Play. Yeah, Google Play. So any of that stuff. I will, if you do me a favor and go to our iTunes page. If you have an iTunes account, go there. Give us a 5-star review. Write something nice, and we're going to read that and recognize that for you to kind of put us out there into the world. Let people know that we exist. And then, again, so we're going to be doing this Wednesdays around 11 a.m. I might actually be changing a little bit. I don't know, because at 1 o'clock really hit the sweet spot there with a lot of people. So yeah. Maybe we'll change time. We're going to have different hosts, different times. We're going to try and work out schedules and stuff. But this Wednesday, we're going to have Dritz, Tommy, and another new host. We're going to have Kevin on. So feel free to drop in and check us out Wednesday at 11 a.m. live. Or you can watch us later on YouTube. Or you can just download us, put a little nerdy in your pocket. iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, CastBox, that's your box feed. You can find us in a lot of different places. Best way you can help support the show, though, share us out, let people know we exist. So, I was going to talk. Oh. Go to YouTube or go to Facebook or Twitter. And yeah, the famous Kevin. Go to Twitter and go to Facebook and find your favorite clip and actually share that out with someone. That'll be awesome. All right, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you next time. What's the button?